Hey! I was expecting a brownout, but it never happened. Hello, viewer. It is Sunday, July the 9th, 2023. I am Mr. Brown, and I trust you are all doing very well today. On this evening's stream / podcast, we are discussing the goings on in the entertainment and on the social media. Be warned, folks, yet more Indie 5. Ta-da. But, and it's a big but, before we begin, you can find us here on the YouTube, or if you prefer your entertainment, in the podcast form. We are also on Spotify. The links are in the description. So, if you've not shut down for the evening, as I always say, lots to get through. Shall we get the guests out? You know it. Let's do it. Here we go. First, from a VPN far, far away, it's the golden reach around droid of choice. It is, and he's not a BBC presenter, it is Z3PO.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Brown. How are you, sir?
Hello there. How are you?
I'm feeling very well and fully functional. Looking forward to discussing this week's trials and tribulations in the world today.
Massive story this week, but
well, we can't really talk about that, can we?
No. I don't think the Americans would understand anyway. But are you well, my friend?
I am. Let's bring on the next retro.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, great to have you on, my friend. Okay, our next guest. Who needs ESG points scoring when you've got this man on your team? He is the uninspired reviewer.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, Mr.
Hello,
Brown.
my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Same here, same here. ESG quota has been filled. There we go.
We are leading the curve. So how's your channel going, my friend?
It's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty well. Just have to get some videos out that I've been fighting my life for. But yeah, it's gonna be out soon. The Indiana Jones video is gonna be out soon.
Oh, you're still working on that?
Yeah. I've had a lot of issues, not related to the video, but life in general have been not permitting me to be able to work on it.
Water involved?
Yeah. I'm getting that properly fixed tomorrow.
Burst pipe, folks. So good to have you on, my friend. Shall we get the next body out?
Yes, we shall.
Okay, next. We see the good inside our next guest. On his new Cyberdyne Systems computer, he is the Dark Sith Terminator 8000.
Good evening. Hello there. Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
Very good. How's your new computer?
I was thinking, because of all the names that have currently been listed as potential next British presenter nons, we haven't ruled you out yet. So, would you like to take this time to issue a preemptive cease and desist before all the rumors get to you?
Okay, it was me, everybody. Although I don't work for the BBC, it was me. Moving on.
I think we should make the words BBC presenter just a synonym, an official dictionary synonym with certain crimes and misdemeanors. That person's such a BBC presenter.
I will say, folks, I think I've said this before on the stream before. A wise man once said to me many, many years ago, "Stiff cock has no conscience." Remember that, folks. So, you good, Lord?
I'm good, thank you, yes.
How's your new computer? Lovely, is it?
It's very nice, yeah, just sitting, humming away in the corner, looking like something out of Tron, so it's all pretty nice.
Ooh. Shall we get the next body out?
I think that's a good idea.
I also think it's a good idea. Okay. Great to have you on. And last, but by And last, but by no means least, he is the wise elder of the channel. You know the rest. He is the great Pac-Man himself, Ian David Diaz.
Hello. Lovely.
Are you eating? What are we eating? Monster Munch?
Oh no, I'm eating chocolate biscuits, would you believe? Very nice.
Brand, variety.
It's Cadbury's and it comes from my fridge and it's really cold, so that's cool. Because it's
Yeah,
really stinking hot now, isn't it? Bloody hell.
No,
It's
pissed
so
it
hot.
down here. I was out on my bicycle today. I did 53 miles, folks.
Oh, that's good.
Not bad for an old bastard. And just as I got in the door, the heavens opened.
Oh,
So I was quite pleased by that. So, are you well, Ian? Yes.
I'm okay. Yeah. Had a good day today. Went out with
Cool.
a couple of people. Went to a pub, a really nice pub. Drank a lot. Yeah. Just chilled today, which is good.
Did you eat
So
a
I'm
lot?
okay. Actually, I ate a bit, but I'm a bit peckish. That's why I'm eating chocolate biscuits. So there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Great to have you on, my friend. Shall we? I think that's it. We're all. That's
We're
it.
all here.
Shall we? Yeah. Okay. Let me do some pressing of the buttons. Hello, chat. We can see you. We can see you. Good
Can
evening.
indeed.
Good evening, chat. End of week news. Sunday, July 9th, 2023. Episode 152. There is Wee Tam there, folks. Wee Tam. Big week for Wee Tam this week. Big week. If you have made it this far and you're enjoying this content, please like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, folks. 3,000. And if we hit the 3,000, we will be doing a 12-hour Attack of the Clone.
Oh, God.
Streams. 12 hours, folks.
Don't sub, everyone. Don't sub. Yeah. Oh,
12 hours. It took us 16 hours to review The Phantom Menace. Can you believe it?
Yes, I can.
16 hours. 16 hours. Admittedly, about 5 of those was Liam Neeson's Wanger, but there you go. Please consider donating to the channel. The links are in the description or pinned message. I will say the generosity of people is most definitely keeping me infused to do these. So I do appreciate every donation, folks. Thank you very much.
Keeping the lights on.
It is. Okay, right. So, who would
Have
like
you been
to
watching
go
this?
first?
I'm out.
I'm out.
As I said in the green room, I can't remember a single thing about what happened this week at all.
Yeah, it's really forgettable.
The only thing I remember is I can't remember the character's name. Amelia Clark getting shot at the end.
Sarah Connor, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've no idea what her name is.
Daenerys Stormborn.
Yeah. She got shot, and that's all I can remember.
Episode 3 was just bad. It's
She dead?
so slow. Yeah, she's dead. Apparently.
Uninspired, would you like to tell the folks at home what's the optimum way to watch that show?
Yes. So, if you guys want to watch a shitty show like Secret Invasion, I'd say the optimal way to see it is in 1.5 times speed or 1.75 times speed, so you don't waste your time because time is precious. There you go. Honestly.
That's a top tip, everybody.
Yeah,
Watch
I've
it
been
1.75.
Every Marvel show I've been watching at 1.5 to 1.75. You'll see, it'll save you a lot of time.
Okay, bear with me. Here we go. Chat moved up. Sorry. Z3PO 1.5 times speed apparently is best.
I think the best is not watching it.
Here you go, folks. Actually, Andrew, what about 2 times? Is that too much?
Yeah, it's too much. They move too fast. They talk too fast. You can't follow. Well, I mean, you can't follow it anyways because there's basically no story. But yeah,
What if you do a ton of like amphetamine? Would that be perfect speed then?
it might. I have to try.
Might help with the pacing.
Yeah. But
Makes
episode
you
3
wonder.
was bad. It
Makes
really,
you
really
wonder
bad.
who approved the scripts, isn't it?
Oh God! Well,
So
as we
is
said,
episode 3 the one where Daenerys gets shot at the end? Because
Yeah,
this is such a weird show. I'm with Zian that I finished the episode and I always forget immediately what just happened, but I also forget having watched it afterwards. So it's not just after the fact I can't remember what happened. It's, have I seen the most recent? Well, I think I have, but
Oh
I
my God.
genuinely don't know. But
I had that exact thought an hour ago. Did I actually watch this week's episode?
Yeah. And I had the exact same thought, and I watched it about an hour ago, so it's that bad.
I will say in the chat, anybody watching this? I'm not. I just can't be
No.
arsed with it. Anybody? Chat? Anybody? No.
I mean,
I put it on, but it makes you allergic to it. It's so completely pointless that you immediately find you have something much better to do, and that could be anything. Like,
Yep.
I've taken a shit recently, but I could go for another one. I mean, that's preferable, I suppose. It's such a nothing thing. But normally, I'd be in favor of not watching it, except that I have a nasty feeling they're going to try and tie Nick Fury's development. I say development in this show. They're going to somehow try and tie Nick Fury into Nick Fury and the Marvels, which happens later on. So because they've given up on the whole idea that you won't have to watch Disney Plus stuff to understand the cinematic stuff. So if you really want to follow, you kind of have to at least vaguely understand what's happened. Except that, this is it's such a pointless thing.
Here you go, folks. Johnny Lawrence's mum. I've seen the first 2 episodes. It's utterly forgettable.
Yeah. Well, episode 3, if I remember correctly, it's about a submarine that's about to bomb a United Nations airplane to start World War III.
That happens.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's so stupid because you've got the people that are about to launch an actual missile into the United Nations airplane, and it's just 2 guys in the submarine. You can clearly see people around them, but it's just 2 guys about to turn the buttons in the submarine, and no one's questioning anything. They're just like, okay, cool, this is happening.
Here you go, folks. The purveyor of meh entertainment, old blue tube himself, movie cynic, Samuel L. Cookson.
Well,
The secret invasion is so meh.
If you're going to
makes the
make a
Batman
comment
look well
like that,
paced.
you'd at least have some money connected to it, Mr. Blue, sir. Do you know what I mean? There you go.
Anyway,
Yeah, don't watch it.
we thoroughly recommend you don't watch this, folks.
Yeah.
What a surprise. Okay.
It's so
You don't even
boring.
know, because we don't even need to recommend that people don't watch it, because no one does. So
They just
everyone
know.
already assumes that this is pointless filler content that nobody really needs to see.
Here you go. Black lives or black votes. Rest in peace, Furylon. Yeah, not good, is it?
Is this the episode where for some reason they decide that they have to inject sort of racial solidarity
Yeah,
into every thing, or is that the previous one?
No, that was episode
It's-
2 at the end, when he's
Oh, that was
talking
2.
with Rhodey.
So we
This
share
is
a
the one
career,
with
we
the
share this, we share
Super
that, we
Skrulls.
share an ancestry. It's like, you don't, but okay.
Not Brian. Hello, Brian. Welcome to featuring shows I don't watch on the Mr. Alliance channel. I can't speak. Sorry, folks. It's all that
So
cycling has gone to my
Is
head.
Nick
so-
Fury? Is there any moment in this show that you've seen so far that he's cool in it? Because he was cool in.
Yeah, actually, episode 3, there is
All right.
there's a scene where he's interrogating, well, the person who has the password for the missile launch. Basically, he wants to stop it, and so he's interrogating the person, and it's like a scene out of Pulp Fiction, but without all the Tarantino goodness. So
There's
it's
the
just
gimp in it.
Oh, okay.
That was Nick Fury himself.
It's dog shit, everybody. What a surprise. Let's move on.
No,
No.
Speaking of-
another turd.
Haven't seen this one, can't comment.
Nor could I.
neither.
Well, it's just me then, isn't it? And you know what? I think I've bailed everybody.
How many
Dave Cullen
episodes
did a
in?
video on this, didn't he? Did
Yeah,
you see the Dave Cullen one?
yeah.
It was like everybody's answering back the captain, and Spock is as dumb as
Yeah.
two rocks. It's just, you know, it's just a terrible show. But I knew it was going to be a terrible show when they started. What they did is they tried to fool you, didn't they? The first season, I've never seen the first season, but apparently it's okay. And
It
then when it comes to
is.
the second season, they went completely woke.
Bang.
So they've
I
got you
know.
now. They want to destroy you, kind of
And
thing. So,
it's a shame because I think if they'd have progressed from season one, I think this would be. It's not. Don't get me wrong. It's not proper Star Trek, but it would be an enjoyable watch for what it is. And shit, it's frustrating.
But if they bring back 7 of 9, you know, that after Picard season 3, if they gave 7 of 9 its own show, they will definitely go woke with that, because they got you with season 3 of Picard, and then what they do is gradually go woke with that show, and then it'll be the same thing as this, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop anytime soon with this crap at all. So with movies and TV shows.
Could you possibly imagine Sulu, Chekhov, or Uhura bad-mouthing the captain?
No.
Or first officer? You just can't, can you?
No.
Because it never happened.
Dog shit.
I mean, these arseholes should be on a charge. They are aware that this is a military.
Yeah,
it's a military exploration vessel.
And on Cullen's showed a clip, and it was like, you got to have something cool to say, Spock, and he goes, "Yes, I'd like the ship to go." And I'm like, God, why? What? You know what I mean? So it's just really bad. The whole thing looks just really bad. So. Hey.
Fuck.
Another one bites the dust.
Another one bites the dust. And another
It's because the people who write stuff like this, that they're fundamentally uncomfortable with authority and with the idea that there's an authority figure, someone that you must obey. And it works against itself because authority, I respect my authority. But it works against it because also, I mean, I haven't seen season 2 of this, so I don't know if this is true, but I suspect it probably is. You see in, almost every major work of television or movies, they all have this insufferably and permanently quippy writing style. All the characters quip at each other all the time. They don't really have conversations. They just exchange witticisms. It makes them seem virtually exactly the same as people because they have the same taste, the same sense of humor, the same intellect, and all the rest of that. But it's something you can't do if you have an established authority figure on the ship. Like, you can't have Captain Kirk, for example, in the role of Captain Kirk in the original series, and have people constantly quipping with him as though they're on his level, because that fundamentally defeats the object of having a ship with a captain to begin with. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's just because, they've gone in for Joss Whedon dialogue, basically, and that requires that no one person be placed above the others in any kind of hierarchy.
Well, at least Joss Whedon was quite funny at times, more than what this is.
Yeah.
But it's always
it's
women.
all the people who tried to do him.
It's always women that tell off a male character that's in charge. That's
yes,
their
that's the
MO,
way,
isn't it? So it's obvious that the agenda is running through this whole show, and it's not going to stop. I would urge everyone that's watching this and disgusted with it to stop right now watching it and just don't give them the time of day.
Really good actors in this.
And I haven't even seen any episodes of this at all. So.
And it's just totally fucking wasted.
Is there do the writers behind this have any other credits than this show?
Don't know.
Don't know. Pass. Don't care. It's dog shit. Let's move on.
Yay!
Oh yes.
I'm seeing this again tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning.
Yes.
At 11:30.
Yes.
Jealous of you. So jealous. I'm going to see this on either Tuesday or Wednesday this week.
I'm going on Thursday.
Yes.
All right. And I'm the only reason why I'm going tomorrow is because it's screening in IMAX. So it's one of the because it has a limited run on IMAX because of the other one with the bomb. I can't remember that one. So
there you go.
I've got to
Titan.
see it IMAX.
Yes, Titan. Look at that. Yes.
Look at that.
M Duke. Yes. Oh, sorry. Chat moved up. Black lives or black votes? Brown is arriving.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Mega Geek, you've seen it then? No spoilers. Go on then, no spoilers.
All I can say is it's very enjoyable, but there's only one bit that doesn't make any sense. But apart from that, it's very, very enjoyable, and I recommend it highly. That's all I'm going to say about. That's all I'm going to say about that. As Forrest Gump said once.
Hayley Atwell, fit as fuck.
Yes. There's yeah. She wears a really cool dress in this film. So yeah, bumps all in the right
all
places.
I needed to know.
Yeah, actually, all the girls in this film are really, as Brown would say, hot as whatever. So they're all really,
fit as
really,
fuck.
yeah, they're all really, really good looking.
Whereas,
people.
what do we get with Indy 5? We get Waller Bridge. But
Waller
just
Bridge, yeah.
Just look at the quality of the female cast on that poster. Just
yeah.
Plus, you've got a French woman. You've got Pomme Clementieff. She's French.
Yeah. Just
you also got Mantis. She's in it.
Yeah. A poster full of beautiful people.
Is it better than Fallout, Mega Geek?
I would say that it's just as good as Fallout.
Oh, that's a great film.
You know, so you can't get any better than that, really. You
know. Here you go. Mega Spider-Man asking the tough questions. What would you give her out of 10, Mr. Brown? Out of 10, you say. Okay, mark out of 10. Hayley Atwell. I'd definitely give her 1, yeah.
One thing I like to point out, though, guys, is that I think Simon Pegg has grown more hair. That's all I can say.
Oh, has he had a transplant?
It does look like it. It does look like it. It really does look like he's had a hair transplant. But I don't know. It just seems, because I've seen him in films where his hair is really receding, and in this film it looks receding, but it looks far more fuller. You know what?
Maybe that's where all the shill money went to.
I don't know. But,
how does it compare to John Wick 4?
Oh,
do you know? Do you know what? It's kind of. I love John Wick 4, and I love this movie, and I loved Fallout. And I would say they're all on the same level. If the thing is, though, I know that you didn't really like John Wick that much, but I like action movies, and I think they all have their merits.
I think the action movie's on its way back, folks.
Yeah, well, they have to come back, don't they?
Yeah, but is the action like John Wick 4, where at a point you can get numbed by it?
No.
Oh, thank God.
No.
You got numbed. I was just going, more.
No, I didn't get numbed by it.
I didn't get numbed by it on the first watch, but then on a rewatch, which was a couple of weeks ago, man, I started looking at my phone because I was like, this is too long.
Top tip: put your phone away.
It's going to be interesting, though, to see what Ben thinks of it and Blue Boy thinks of it, because they always have hot takes when they do their reviews. So it's going to be very interesting to see, especially Blue Boy, see what he thinks of it.
Blue Tube.
Well, he likes John Wick 4, so he'll probably like this.
You never know.
Really give a shit about John Wick 4, and I don't give a shit about Mission Impossible. It's touch and go if I even bother to go and see this one, to be honest. But I might have a look just to see what it's about. But no, Mission Impossible has never done it for me ever. I've never given a damn about Mission Impossible. It doesn't interest me. I don't like it when the reason for a film coming to be is when two people sit down together and they say, "What stunt do you want to do in this one?" And I think, no.
You know what? You're right. I tell you one thing. When it first started, Mission Impossible 1, it was basically trying to be like the TV show. Mission Impossible 2 was all about Tom Cruise. Number 3 was all about Tom Cruise. Number 4 was kind of all about Tom Cruise. Do you know what I mean? So you got a pattern there. But the thing is, though, as it went on, it became something more than Tom Cruise. It became about kind of was turning into Bond. Yeah. And then once it turned into Bond, they concentrate on the stunts, and then the stunts enhance the action, in my opinion, of course, just my opinion. And it got better, in my opinion. And now we've got this. So that's what I think.
May I do a super chat? I forgot. Sorry. M Duke 84 for £2. That's real money, everybody. Dollars to start the show. I think he did it before we started. So cheers, M Duke.
I can tell you who will like it though. Brown,
Me.
Z, and Uninspired will like it. I'm not sure
Mm.
if Ben would like it though. I think Ben might not like it.
I thought Blue Tube was going to see a preview. Here you go.
Yeah, I did
Blue
like number
Tube.
Yeah, I think
three.
he's going after
Yeah, I
Peter
love
on
number
Monday. I
3.
think.
Yeah, because number 3 was the one that set everything up. It
Yep.
introduced what's his name, Peg's character, and he had a wife in that, and it pushed everything in motion. So number
Yeah,
3.
if number 3 wasn't there, Fallout wouldn't have been as
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Here you go, folks. Melvin Deeply. MI2 or the M12 Motorway is the worst films ever made. Oof.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's bad.
It had some nice moments in it, action-wise, but it still didn't.
Two
didn't work
bikes
for me.
being launched at each other.
Yeah, well, that's John Woo's stuff, isn't it? That's what
Yep.
John Woo does. So, but the thing is, though, John Woo's films, there was it. I can't remember what was that one where they were in the hospital and they're shooting.
Oh, that's
I can't remember that.
Face
that-
Off.
Yeah, no, it's not Face Off. It's that film was better than Mission Impossible 2 because he was allowed to do what he
Actual
wanted to
stunts.
do. But
A
obviously when
boiling
he's-
point.
Yeah. Obviously, when he's in the Hollywood system, he has to comply to the rules of Hollywood system. So that's why it wasn't really a John Woo film. Let's face it.
Here you go, folks. Smilex. MI3 had the best film. Was that the Hoffman bloke? He
Yes,
was a
it
great
was.
villain.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the late Hoffman. He was a fantastic.
Follow the White Rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay, I would just say normally I wait until the weekend to get a cheap ticket, but I'm not going to get a cheap ticket. I'm going to get a full price ticket to go see it tomorrow. That's how much I want to see this.
I'm just so interested to see what Ben thinks of it if he ever watches it, and also Blue Boy, see what they think of it. So it's going to be interesting.
I can't wait. Yes. Oh,
I'm talking about Ben. There we go.
One day, folks, we will get music and animate it and stuff.
I might even have a think. Hold on.
What?
It's time for the news at 10 to 11 on BBC Radio 4. Is this working? I think I have a radio voice now.
Yeah, it's
I don't
working.
actually know what all of these buttons do, but
That's the news, folks.
London calling.
Yeah.
This is London calling. Today, Lord Cord's news round at the Little Platoon. That's you, Blue. Here we go. Yes, Tom Cruise. Anybody see this?
Yeah, dad and son. It looks like that.
Tom Cruise posted this. I think it was today. I am so grateful to be able to travel the world to bring these films to you. We can't wait for you to see this Mission Impossible story on the big screen. So it's kind of.
Did you see the one? Because this is going to become a thing now. Because Tom Cruise has been doing this for a while, and everyone really likes it. And so, of course, you have to commodify it. So Harrison Ford did one of these for Indy 5 a couple of days ago. Basically saying that it's meant so much to bring this character to you over the last several decades. And it's all for you. I just want you to go and watch and enjoy the film and thank you so much. I think, it's kind of sincere when it comes from Tom Cruise. But now everyone's going to start doing it. So it's going to lose its sheen.
Because Tom Cruise, right, he made sure that he was for the fans when he made Top Gun, didn't he? The second Top Gun film.
Yep.
And so now everybody's going to copy him now. It's just ridiculous.
But I mean, you have the actions of Tom Cruise that express it just conveys much more love to the fans than anything else. Because you have Tom Cruise. I remember when the cinemas first reopened, he was out there during the Tenet. I think it was Tenet that opened the cinemas after.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And so he was there in the crowd. He was cheering with everyone. He was like, "Yes, cinema is back." Plus, he's jumping out of planes just to say, "Yeah, go see it in the movies. Go see it on the big screen." I don't think that anyone will ever reach his level, even if they try. And people will just see that it's they're copying the assignment, but they're not doing it as well.
Yeah.
Let's not forget he sat on Top Gun Maverick for 2.5 years, refusing to put it on streaming. The studios wanted it to go on streaming. He refused. He said, "I made it for the fans. We're watching it on a big screen." That's it. 2.5 years, folks.
But so this is the director and this is the star. But believe you me, this director wasn't really directing this film. It was all Tom. I reckon it's all Tom doing this. Yeah, they may have collaborated from time to time.
They
But
are a great team.
if Tom goes, yeah, but I want to do it this way, I can't see this guy arguing with him. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, they're a great team, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
And Tom is there for the action. Christopher is there for the script.
Well, they're both there for the script, apparently. They changed a lot.
Yeah, Christopher McQuarrie.
Yeah. They changed a lot. According to reports, they changed a lot. So Hayley Atwell, when she was doing her scenes, when she was doing her scenes, apparently she had all her lines memorized, and while they were doing a car sequence, Tom Cruise would go, "Why don't you say this line? Why don't you say that line? Go on, say it." And then they just pick and choose in the edit, apparently. So
Okay.
yeah, so there you go.
Here you go. Sorry, chat moved up. Neil, Christopher, I can't speak. Sorry, folks. Christopher McQuarrie also wrote Edge of Tomorrow, which was excellent.
It was. Yeah, it was fun.
I will defend Edge of Tomorrow. I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt also fit
It's
as fuck.
Emily Blunt.
Okay, so we Tam doing it right for the fans. Let's move on.
Are we going to move? Oh, we got Harrison Ford back. Is he saying, "I'd like to thank the fans here"?
This is how you do it, folks.
You.
What do you reckon, Lord?
Well,
Should we just leave it at
what
that?
else is there to say? Yeah, well, no, obviously, no. It's always going to be the problem with anything that takes off. Any sincerity which also just happens to be very successful for a studio will be marketed by other studios. So you'll see almost everyone doing this, especially when it's associated with failing films. And it's a shame to think that Tom Cruise's probably fairly sincere messages, or at least that's how they started out, will very soon become synonymous whenever you see anybody else doing it with a bad, underperforming film, which is the case of Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford doesn't give a shit. Harrison Ford's been paid. But not enough, and obviously probably he's not going to get many residuals from a film nobody goes to see, so he wants to drum up more people to go and watch this bin fire of a film, and it's not going to happen. But you'll see it next time as well. The next time a movie bombs, which happens to be part of a franchise, some guy in it will come out and say, "Yeah, we made it for you. It's all about honoring legacy," and that usually means they've killed the character. So I'm not buying this from Harrison at all.
Special message from Brie Larson.
Suck my feet.
Yeah.
You know what, though?
We made the Marvels for you. It's meant so much to us to be able to give you something you'll really enjoy.
If Brie spoke to me by saying that, I would
suck your feet.
It.
Suck your feet.
Well, I'd do everything apart from suck a feet. But there you go. That's just
also,
me.
have you not noticed on Facebook they have an advert with Indiana Jones? It says the #1 film. It says.
Oh yeah, I see
in India.
But at the bottom, there's all these comments saying how much they like the film. And I wonder if they're real or not. I don't know. It's like, how could people like this film? It's awful. Anyway.
Chat.
There's a few people who've said some variant of, yes, it's flawed, but it gave me what I expected of an Indiana Jones film. And I to be honest, I believe these people because there's an awful lot of people out there who completely cannot discriminate between quality and lack of quality. If you put something vaguely familiar on the screen, they will clap like seals. And so, I believe that lots of people did like this film. It's just that they can't really give any arguments as to why.
Yeah, the worst arguments that I've seen are you have to lower your expectations and then you'll enjoy the film, which that's just stupid.
Okay, here you go. Fiona M. at Mr. Brown Allies. That's me. Okay, right. Okay. Harrison Ford, it's been a pleasure to ruin this character because I was bored playing same old indie, so I've fucked him while P. Wallerbridge fingered my ass. Get off my lawn.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
That's
really,
uncanny.
I do like.
I thought he walked in then.
I do like Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
as an actor.
Harrison.
It's a shame. Yeah.
Here you go. Super chat. Peter Pidrak for $5. Thank you, Peter. Mr. Brown, this is for pronouncing my name correctly the first time in my last.
How old's Harrison Ford?
Cheers, Peter.
80?
80 something? Or is he
Eight.
just
Do
80?
you know Clint Eastwood is 93 and he's still going?
My old
That's
fella's 95.
Crazy. Sorry?
My dad's 95.
I know, but still though, I mean Clint Eastwood, jeez. Guy's still
There's
going.
a couple of scenes in Indy 5 which prove that he can still act. It's just that he can't be asked 90% of the time. So the scene
99%.
when he reveals that, Mutt died, and none of that makes any fucking sense, but when he reveals that Mutt died and Marion left him, and he actually is acting, and it's quite, if you ignore everything around it and all of the films that went before it, it's quite emotional. It's just that you can't ignore all of those things because this is a sequel. And that's not how stories work. But he can still do it. It's just that most of the time he's there to pick up a paycheck. That's why he always plays the same grumpy version of Grumpy People, which is basically just himself.
Yeah.
Mousy Andy 231. Reading had brown lessons. Yes. Moving on. Okay, so we're not buying this, are we, folks?
Nope,
No.
not at all.
Well,
very,
we've seen the
very
film, haven't
cynical,
we?
isn't it? Very cynical.
We've seen the film, so it's
There you go,
rubbish.
Paige,
That's rubbish.
Ashley, 81.
Well, now he's got a fruitful career in the MCU ahead of him, so we'll see how
So-
that goes.
Yeah.
He killed Han Solo,
He's going to kill the Red Hulk.
and he may as well have killed Indy.
Yeah, he neutered Indiana Jones.
Hold on. So when he goes from General Ross to the Red Hulk, is the Red Hulk going to be 81 as well and really old? You know,
No, he's going to be CGI.
CGI old Hulk. I don't know. Weird.
I bet you
But
they
who
won't
wants to
even
bet he
use his
plays
voice.
General Ross as a grumpy, miserable, dry old man, just like he plays every other character he's played for about 20 years at this point?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh well.
Get fucked, Lord.
I don't want to live anymore.
I thought he was in the room.
Thanks for coming to watch our shitty movie, folks. We deconstruct. We know you like him, but we thought we'd deconstruct him to make him a piece of shit, folks. I hope you enjoyed the movie. Let's move on.
Do you reckon he got paid to say that?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mangold. Okay. Z, do you know anything about this one?
What, James Mangold?
Yeah.
James Mangold.
He's been on again, hasn't he? He's basically saying...
He's got that Kevin Smith air about him, hasn't he? He can't keep
Does.
his bloody mouth shut. You know, just swallow it, take the hit, move on. Don't start fan blaming for your shitty movie. It's not our fault. We didn't write it. We didn't direct it.
It's your fault, everybody in the chat. It's
Well-
It's your fault that it's bombing.
You
It's your
see, the
fault.
thing that I don't understand is that James Mangold knows what a good and what a well-written movie is. So I don't know if he's
Yeah.
basically contractually obligated to say or to attack the fans or anything like that, or if he just has such a fragile ego that he can't handle that we're just saying his movie is indeed trash, and he knows that it's a stain on his reputation.
Well, maybe
I'm
he's
willing to
been
bet on the
paid
latter.
to say it. I don't know.
No, I don't think don't underestimate how massively egotistical and very stupid these people are. I don't know if it comes up in a slide later, but Robert Downey Jr. has also said a massively stupid thing recently regarding Oppenheimer when that comes out. But these people are just morons. How the fans don't make the film. If he has sole control over what goes onto the script. Well, he and KK, obviously.
Yes.
So really, he should be blaming her for dividing his film into 5 different pieces and then sticking it together out of order. But nevertheless, the fans have no say in what they have gone to see. They have sat down in the cinema waiting
they
to be
haven't
given
seen
something by you, James Mangold. If the fans' reaction to that is divided because half of them have taste and don't like it, and the other half don't have taste and they do like it, that's not the fans who are being divisive. That's you who have made a divisive film by definition. I don't mind the era of fan blaming because it does very clearly reveal how stupid these people are. But it would at some point be nice to think that we'll get over this and that these people will rediscover some sort of relationship with reality.
You got folks, channel favourites, Velma Dinklage in the chat. Own goal, Mangold.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Rian Johnson did exactly the same thing, didn't he? Every time somebody came up to criticize his movie, he would just not shut his mouth.
But you know what's really irking me is that if he's so confident in what he's saying, why isn't he going a show where we have the fans and him in one corner and the fans in the other? And let's just video it. Let's just put this show out on mainstream TV and let's see what the fans really think of your film. No, you want to hide behind social media and talk a load of bollocks. That's what you want to do because you know you're wrong.
You could get, you could have, is it Matthew Cadish and Doomcock in a,
No,
get him in
wouldn't
a
have
like a
those two.
cage match. That'd be fantastic.
No, I wouldn't have those two. But I'm just saying, remember in the old days before social media, they used to have things like that on TV. I remember when Grange Hill came out and the parents were really pissed off because they had fights in and stuff like that. They had the parents on one end and had the kids on the other, and they were debating the fact about the actual show itself. They used to do that quite a lot with TV shows and movies, especially when the second Batman film came out. You had those loads of shows on TV, CBS, they saying that the film wasn't for kids and all that stuff. So why they do that now with Mangold? Why doesn't Mangold step up and defend what he believes is right? But he won't do that, will he? Because he knows he's wrong.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Do you think his hands were tied big time? Although he shouldn't
for
take
the movie.
Yeah,
Absolutely. But but if his hands were tied, then he knows.
but he
his hands
took it
were
on
tied.
though, didn't he?
Yeah, basically step back, don't have any interviews, carry on, try and find more work. Why come out and say all this crap?
Exactly. I think that it's the ego thing, as Platoon said, and also one thing that overinflates these people's ego, especially nowadays, is that the media are mostly shilling because we all know that allegedly Disney buys people, they incite the media to speak positively about them, which wasn't really the case back in the 90s or the early 2000s. If a movie was trash, you'd hear critics saying the movie is absolute garbage. And now you've got everyone praising you from big media outlets, and you only have YouTubers that will maybe even some YouTubers are considered shills, but you'd have YouTubers that are the only ones that want to actually say, oh, your movie is bad.
I really do not want to watch this movie.
Don't.
Normally, I would say, watch it, make up your own mind, and figure out for yourself what you make of it. But this is one of those very rare occasions where it's just not worth it. Like, if you like Indiana Jones, if you respect the character, if you have fond memories of the character, this is a film that you have to pretend just doesn't exist, because there is no way you can come out of this thinking, yeah, that was the Indiana Jones I remember.
Well, I've had a bit of a inside scoop of your Indy 5 vid, and just listening to that, fucking hell, it's just
all 4 hours of it.
Oh my God.
literally about twice. Fucking hell, unbelievable.
And it's such a ham-fisted ending, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
You got Indiana Fleabag hits Jones so fucking hard, he's unconscious.
How
dragged
did
him
she
over to
drag
his-
him back to the plane?
Well, not only that, they flew back through the time portal, landed at the other side, took a transfer to New York, got him through customs, put him on a cab, dragged him up to his apartment, and put him in his chair before convincing his ex to get back up with him.
All while he's a wanted criminal because he's been framed for the murder of 3 people that the film just forgot was a thing.
Yes.
What does Critical Drinker say? Fuck off, film. Here you go, Peter Pidrak for $2, 16 hours. Wow, almost as long as Liam's Wang. That was
16 hours from base to tip. It basically is as long as Liam's Wang.
Can't believe 16 hours to review that movie. Fiona M, $2. It was Mangold that booted Marion and killed Mutt.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think it
well-
was him. I don't think it was him.
Was he attached right from the beginning, or is this one of KK's typical, let's cycle through 5 directors before we just settle for one?
Recycled.
Well, what I heard, right, with some of my contacts in LA is that basically she went to a shitload of directors, and it was only 2 that said yes, they would direct it, and Mangold was one of them. But she went to very famous directors to try and take over the mantle from Steven Spielberg.
Because he said,
Yeah.
I would just
nobody
say,
wanted to
everybody,
ruin their reputation.
Melvin Deeply's put a link to Outcast Creative's channel. They do kind of stuff like this. They need 5 more subs for 2K, folks. Okay.
It's a catch-22 situation as well, because if you try to excuse James Mangold by saying, well, that bit was already written before he signed on, then he still read that and chose to sign on. But if you say that he didn't know what was happening because it was written while he was directing, then he's partly responsible for the direction they took, in which case it's still his fault. So I don't really buy the hands tie thing, certainly since, the number of times the words creative differences have come out in news reports with Kathleen Kennedy-related projects because she's ditched more directors who simply won't go along with what she has planned. Directors can leave products if they think this is going to be a terrible mistake. If it was the case that he had his hands tied by studio interference on top of him, then he should either have quit the project because he didn't like it, or he should actually come out and say, look, I stand by what happened. It's not the fans' fault they didn't like it, but I still think it was good.
But if I may, Ben, it's far more complicated. Thank you. It's far more complicated than that, right? I've been in I hate to say this, but I've been in a situation where they were paying me a decent wage to direct a film. The producer was interfering and stuff like that. Obviously, the producer didn't know what he was doing, and he was making my job worse. The question you got to ask yourself: do you walk from the project, or do you carry on directing it, accept the money, and hopefully that'll be enough to take you to the next project? And I think that's what he was thinking. So even though look, he's not a stupid man. I reckon he knew that what he was doing was dog shit. He definitely knew it. And so that's the question. Do you go halfway through, see it's shit, then walk away from it? Then if you walk away from it, it's going to destroy your reputation. You need to work more. And so he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not making any excuses up for him at all.
No.
Right, so I'm just saying that could have been
I can see that. I think it's more the question as to this particular reaction. So let's say it's the second of the examples you give, and you're right. He does need to keep working, and he doesn't want his reputation trashed. Then in my book, that means that he should come out after the film doesn't do very well and say, look, I recognize that this has divided the fans, but I stand by it and I think we did a good job, rather than doing this and saying, I think the fans are at fault for being divisive.
Yeah, but it depends on what contract he signed, Ben. It depends on what contract. If he signed a contract that says that he's prohibited in saying that, then he's screwed.
Prohibited in what?
In saying
signed a contract which says that you must... slag off the fans if the film doesn't do very well.
No. You must defend the film at all costs.
Defend. I know that's in contracts. But for example, Tom Holland went and did an interview recently about that new show on, is it Apple TV? Is it The Crowded Room, which has not got very good responses at all. And he said, look, I see the critics, I acknowledge the critics, I know this has been panned, but I'm still here defending it. I have a thick skin. I think we did good work. That's a way of still defending it without blaming fans for not liking it. So I don't think there would be a contractual provision to say, it's shit, and that's because the fans are bad, as opposed to saying, well, fans might have their opinions, but I think it was right.
I hear what you're saying, Ben, but again, if he says that, he's going to endanger his future working in Hollywood. If he says that, because KK's quite powerful, the people that he's working for are very powerful. In fact, the people he's working for is Hollywood. So if he says, you know what I mean? He's in a horrible situation, isn't it? Isn't he? So you might be completely right. Yes, he's a stupid idiot for saying all this crap. But if I look at it one way as well, maybe he's stuck. Maybe he had to say it. I don't know. You might be right, Ben.
Ian, this was for you. Uma Plumzert at Mega Geek. I do believe that is you. If KK had been watching over your shoulder and demanding things the old time, would you have followed her orders or walked to save your reputation? Well, I'll answer that. He hasn't got one.
Exactly. Well, I'm a director that's not known and have not really worked for the industry. Was worked in the independent sector. If somebody offered me a truckload of money to direct Indiana Jones the way it was shot now, I would say yes, and I would just take orders and just move and just collect all the money.
He talks the talk, but he definitely doesn't walk the walk. Exactly. He's all wind and piss, everybody. Okay,
for James Mangold, it's a bit too bad for him because the studios that he'd worked with before were 20th Century Fox, so he couldn't really fall back
Disney
since Disney owned now. So man,
I can see one way I can see the position, but I also understand what Ben's saying as well. He shouldn't have been a freaking idiot by saying all that crap. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but I think it's true that their egos do get very bruised. I mean, Zack Snyder a couple of months ago came out and said that the audiences just didn't understand his DC movies. Like we're a bunch of idiots. They didn't do well because they were rubbish, mate.
We just got Lance to 2K, everybody.
Oh, good.
Cheers,
that was
Melvin.
quick.
Nice.
Melvin, I will say your task is to get me to 3K subs. your mission, should you choose to
Choose
accept
to
it.
accept it.
3K subs, mate.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shall we move on from Goldilocks?
Yeah, maybe he's just an idiot. You never know. But I think maybe Ben's right. He's probably just an idiot. I mean, look at Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi, he did give loads of hints that he wasn't in charge of the last movie he made, and he didn't slag off the fans saying it was the fans' fault, did he? He's right. Took the money and ran.
There are subtle ways of conveying that, like when you know, didn't he say something like it is difficult filming a movie before the end has been written? I think
That's
is one of
right.
the quotes that he gave, which is you know, he's not slagging anybody directly off, but anyone who bothers to read between the lines of that one knows what he's saying.
There you go. Gui Ramos deconstruction, elegant way of calling or ruining a character and a well-loved, iconic character. Should we move on?
Yeah. Oh God, we haven't moved on far, have we?
Yeah, there's. Sorry, folks. There is. I think this is a. Indy 5 is, when you think about it, is quite a big thing that's happening in the pop culture at the moment.
Even though that shot worked, it still looked weird. His face looks weird compared to his body.
The worst part that looked weird was when he had the rope around his neck and he fell down. Once he fell, oh man, it didn't even look like it was attached to his body.
Okay, so over 100 visual effects artists spent 3 years de-aging Harrison Ford for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dog Shit.
They did a really good job, though. You got to admit, it's probably one of the best de-aging scenes
that
I've
does
ever
look
seen
very
in a
good.
film. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, you compare it to, I mean, Rogue One is 7 years ago, and compare this to Moff Tarkin and that. And before that, you had Tron Legacy with Jeff Bridges. It was only a few years before Rogue One came out. So it's worth just looking at how recent the technology is and how quickly it's developed. I think, you know, there are uncanny aspects to its deployment in this film, and they do sometimes, like, so they put him in the background and they blur him as much as possible so you don't notice too much, but it looks kind of like him, but the face just isn't quite malleable enough. It's not flexible enough. It's a bit sort of, it's a bit too rubbery still, but again, compare it to the recent past. My problem with that, though, is that they can do this now. They can de-age Harrison Ford. We already know that they can de-age people's voices. We already know that AI can replicate people's voices, for example. The rate that this is going, I wouldn't be like, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that Indiana Jones comes back within a decade and Harrison Ford isn't involved, but it still looks like him and it sounds like him. And they think, well, we're losing money and it's still a recognizable brand, even if this film tanked. So let's just bring him back forever. And I don't necessarily think that that's going to be very fun for cinema. Just this permanent replication of dead people.
You mentioned de-aging. Do you think KK will be getting some de-aging done?
But do you know what, right? Even though the aging effects in this sequence was quite good, they still have a long way to go by just pushing one button and it takes care of everything. Because I remember watching the scene where, as Uninspired was saying, where he falls when he's got the thing around his neck. But when he falls, if you look closely, the de-aging disappears and you can see that stuntman's face. It's the same thing with some other shots as well. When something moves really fast, there's nothing you can do about, you know, trying to fix the face. So no doubt when this film comes out on Blu-ray, people will be pausing it, you know, pausing each scene to see where it disappears.
Yeah, I mean, IM have been doing this since at least Attack of the Clones, though. So they did it with Christopher Lee in Attack of the Clones for the sword fights. Yeah. They basically superimposed, but because they always kept it at a distance when they were doing that, you have to pause and look, and then you know that either there's no texture on the face at all, or it's very, very clearly CGI. But because it's distant and it's moving so quickly, in the moment, you don't really spot too much of it. So they've been going at this for a long time, and again, it has improved massively. It's just... yeah, there's a way still to go, and then even if it gets to its best state, in which case it can permanently replicate everyone, I don't necessarily know if we want that.
Yeah, but sorry, I'd just like to say that AI has become incredibly intelligent. In the old, I don't know if you know After Effects. In the old days, if you wanted to take someone out of a scene, you had to draw around them and stuff like that. Now you have to push a button, and it just draws around the character itself. And if it makes a mistake, you just correct it. So with that advance, imagine in the next, say, 5 years, 6 years time, they wouldn't be spending 3 years on this. They're probably spending
10
half
minutes.
a year or something like that, or even 10 minutes.
Z, are you available to read a super chat, please?
I am, and may I also say that I, for one, welcome our artificially intelligent overlords. Got to cover the bases, haven't you?
Yes.
Nikki Relihan in the chat for £5 which is
Real money.
real money. By the way, when is Z going to release his audiobook, 50 Shades of Gold? I want it and the world needs it. I haven't
Are
given
you-
it much thought. Maybe I
think
should
that-
read porn.
Z in the what is it, oil bath? Pictures of him in the oil bath. That's it. Yeah.
Z, while you're up,
The movie cynic for $4.99 in the chat, which is unreal money. The deepfake was shit. Stop lying. A TikTok filter would have worked just as well.
No,
Says
I
the guy with
disagree.
the AI avatar.
Yeah, no, I disagree. I thought it was very well done, but there was obvious scenes that it just didn't work. But you know,
Yeah,
they
it
did
depends
their
on the
best.
moment. Plus,
Yeah.
they didn't only use deepfake and de-aging. They actually had stuntmen wear
Yes,
those
a
weird,
mask.
like
Yeah,
Mission
yeah.
Impossible masks with Harrison Ford's face on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is just, it's still bad. Anyways,
Yeah.
it needs work. It needs work.
The
They should-
weirdest
I don't
ones are
think that
when
they should have
he's
done it.
doing the body double himself. That's the weirdest sort of juxtaposition between body shape, body movement, and face. So
Yes,
the stuntmen,
Yep.
if you pause it, then you can note that it's not quite right. But it's when he's actually doing the body doubling and he looks like that, but then he stands up like an 80-year-old man
Yeah,
and waddles
yeah.
along doing the Biden shuffle. That's when you think, something's up there, not going very well.
oh, did you see Biden fart when he was doing a speech this
He
week?
farted.
What?
Well, that's just when he does every speech. That's what comes out of his mouth, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
I'm
Okay,
going to do
so
that for my funeral, you know.
What?
what?
Come on, I'm going to pay 4 guys who are my height and build to wear masks of me. So when everybody comes out of my funeral, I just want them to be seen and then all get into the car and just leave.
Igor folks, big supporter of the channel, Garth Knights for $5. Just got here. Lord Doomcock is saying big meeting at Lucasfilm on Monday. Fingers crossed. You know
See,
what that
I
is,
actually
don't you?
read one of the articles spawned from a Doomcock room a while ago. Last week, I think it was. I don't normally read any of these things, but I figured it would be interesting to see what, say, Bounding Into Comics actually writes about when they borrow a rumor from Doomcock. And one of them was something. It was something like, the rumor is that KK has been locked out of her email address and this, that,
Yeah,
and the
I saw
other,
that, yeah.
and she's
Yeah.
not welcome anymore. And then you read down the text and it says, of course, there was scheduled server maintenance that day in the office. So that's probably the more plausible explanation. Like, just KK walks into bar and then Doomcock will say she's clearly
I
being
am bar.
fired and having a meeting in said bar with person chief executive of Disney. And you think, well, or she's just grabbing a drink. Which of those two things is more likely?
I think KK will be getting promoted on Monday, folks. You heard it first.
No,
I
she's
don't
gonna
know,
get a big amount of money. She's gonna say I'm retiring, and then
Yeah,
there
I
we
hope
go.
that. I hope
Yeah.
that is the case. I really do. And
Oh,
you know,
she'll
you
get
know what?
fucked.
Right. The question is, right? Is she responsible for what's happening, or is it
Yes.
the rules that she has to comply to? I don't know, but I think she's responsible for what's happening.
don't know. You
I
have
think there's
shareholders.
a specific kind of responsibility so that you can compare what happens, because it's not just KK who is the source of failure in Hollywood. You know, notably KK isn't responsible for DC movies making a loss every single time they come out for very many similar problems. So KK is only limitedly to blame for a lot of this stuff, but she has a particular hallmark of incompetence. So she will cycle through more directors than any other studio head, for example, or she'll have more writers involved and sacked and more plot drafts that are just ditched halfway through, or more films cancelled than most other studio heads do.
Yeah.
So they won't be fixed if she goes, but a certain kind of incompetence, her unique flavor will disappear. I think that, you know, to the extent that anything happens to her at all, she will be allowed to see out her contract until next year, and they either won't renew her or they'll move her to a different upstairs position with much less power and authority. She won't be sacked because that would be an admission of failure.
She will be leaving Lucasfilm in a pine box. Lord, are you available to read this super chat? I'm not touching this one.
I can indeed. From the movie cynic for $1.99, Doomcock is KK's Gimp. Takes one to know one. So yeah.
As I said, I hope she leaves soon. But the thing is, though, I got the feeling even if she did leave, there'd still be the woke agenda in
Oh, for
these
Oh, he's here
films
to
going
stay,
forward.
folks. He's
Yeah.
here to stay. Here you go, Gui Ramos for. Is this
Is that dollars?
No.
what's that?
I think it's a real of
It's,
some sort, but I don't know which.
for $27.90. I wonder if in the future we'll have a modality of contracts of actors where they allow AI versions of themselves to still act even after their death.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Ooh,
Yes, they will, because basically,
nice
if you're going to
question.
die, you're thinking of your family, and then if you
Sorry.
make that it will secure your. That's what's going to happen. These actors are going to, and also they want their legacy to keep going when some of them are really
Yeah.
vain. They want their legacy to go. So yeah, they're going to sign contracts, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It can already
100%. They might
happen
have
if the
some stuff.
estate gives the permission for a license to be used, for example. So they did that with Peter Cushing in Rogue One.
Yeah.
So it can already happen. I wouldn't be surprised if you did eventually see probably the law change to accommodate a very specific and sort of preemptive form of this. So actors can sign away likeness rights, but likeness for the purposes of AI will be classed differently than, say, the replication of poster art, for example. I think that would probably be a good thing, because it's not just going to be actors who can be repurposed in this way. This technology will very quickly become very mainstream, and you can do it with virtually everyone who might not necessarily have given permission. So over time, you might see an evolution in sort of image rights and likeness rights, which will allow this kind of thing very limitedly to be used in films and very specifically for this purpose, rather than the all-purpose, if you exist, we can remake you type thing we have at the moment.
Here you go, folks. Garth Knights for $5. Cheers, Garth. Please send my regards to Michael. KK and Doomcock form a symbiont circle. What one does affects the other. Yes.
Also,
I understood
right,
that reference.
I
very good.
think that what ILM is going to do in the future, and I think it's coming, they're going to actually get an AI to solve this problem here.
What, make a
of the,
decent film?
No, to solve the problem of make the aging, and I reckon AI is going to solve it faster than ILM can actually solve it. That's what I reckon.
When in an alternate universe, 100 years' time, KK is just Master Control from Tron, and she's still in place. But she's just a robot.
Here you go, folks. Gui Ramos. It's Brazilian reals.
Oh,
Brownie.
is it? Oh, wow. Good.
Wow. Brazilian. Moving on. Okay, so shall we definitely move on from this?
I hope so.
We're getting a little bit bogged down, I do feel. Although, sidestep.
Gold.
So when you said, shall we definitely move on, I assumed that
I was
that was,
teasing.
was something other than the usual
teasing.
moving on.
I think we've kind of mentioned this during the stream. Karen Allen on Indiana Jones 5. When Steven Spielberg was going to direct the film, I think the scripts were more focused on Indy Marion's story.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Would not be surprised.
So
KK
something
comes
half
in.
decent.
Yeah, KK comes in and puts a size 9s in, changes the script so that it could be all feminized and demonize men. That's what
It's
they
weird
did.
because I actually wonder. Steven Spielberg is a powerful person in Hollywood. Can't
Not
he
anymore.
Really?
Not
Can't he
anymore.
do anything?
No, because somebody said to me, I think it was Ben that told me ages ago, that his kids are into this woke agenda.
They're into the woke,
thing.
yeah.
So he's kind of like in, again, I'd say those words, between a rock and a hard place. So he's, he doesn't know what to do, I think. So
Yeah. Man.
Also, he's in the sort of the egotistical self-reflection, self-documentary stage of his career now. So I don't think he's particularly interested. He and George Lucas, both had the option of taking on a film like this. Both of them looked at it and said, "Nah, we don't have anything left to do. We've done it. We're moving on." Spielberg goes on to do The Fabelmans and the other sort of self-referential stuff. George Lucas retires. So I don't think they were interested either way. I think they do have executive producer credits on this film. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah,
but I
they've
think
got
that's
a few
true.
quid from
They
it.
do.
Here you go, Jay. I love it when the new faces, the lurkers, appear. James Caserta. KK spends a lot of time under desks.
It's the long neck.
no, it's What was that? It's Police Academy. Do you remember when that woman was?
Yes.
I stopped. Brown. I wasn't going to say it, mate. I think they all knew what I meant.
Here you go, folks. Chat favorite, channel favorite, Vex Electronica. Still
Vex.
boggles me that anyone thought they would like this film. Just genuinely, it's shite. Even from the pitch meeting,
Yeah.
shite.
It is. It's rubbish.
I really do not want to. I'm not going anywhere near this movie. It's been painful listening to the
All of
preview I've
us.
had. No, well, basically the Lord. It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? This film.
Nobody involved in it really seemed to give a shit either. I mean, do you know what Antonio Banderas said about his role? Because he has the cameo in this film. And you would expect, you've got a bit part role, even if it's just a bit part role. It's in an Indiana Jones film. You might be a bit excited about what you've done, right? But he said something like, my character is very little. It's just a cameo. He's just a friend. And Indy needs him because he needs something. But he's not really in the film much. But obviously, I'm kind of happy to be there. That's basically what he said. So it's not even as though anybody really involved in the film itself. None of the actors really were very excited. None of them put anything into their role. Most of them seem to have known what the nature of the thing was as they were doing it. And it tells when you see them on the screen. It's such a low effort production for something that costs so much money.
Yeah,
325.
He might have got a bigger role. He might have had a bigger role. And then because of the changes, it got cut down to a couple of minutes. That's basically what he had in the film. But I think he's obviously now saying this stuff because he's seen the final cut. That's what I reckon. But there's no way you would hire Antonio Banderas just to have the total of screen time he has on screen is less than 7 minutes.
Yep.
Less than 7 minutes. That's awful.
Here you go. Big problema. Antonio Banderas said, "Esto filmo es crap" or something. See, yes. Okay, so I don't know if we're moving on.
Yeah,
we shall see.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember.
Yes.
That's a no then. Okay. Indiana Jones in the Dial of Dysentery earns 26.5 pounds in the film's second domestic weekend, a 50% drop.
55% drop, yeah. But I think you can understand why it dropped because as I keep saying on these streams, right, word of mouth is far more powerful than anything, whether it be social media or the mainstream media. If people go to see this film and they think it's bad, they will tell people and people will stay away, or majority of people will stay away, put it that way. Yeah.
And Cynic knows more about this kind of thing than I do, but I have a feeling 56% isn't a terrible drop-off, but the fact is that it's dropping off from virtually nothing, which basically means if no one really goes to see it, then the drop-off will be lower the next weekend. The more interesting thing is how quickly it's been knocked off the top spot by, including things that nobody really was expecting or had heard about. That Sound of Freedom film has come out, which is for all intents and purposes an independent one, knocked Indiana Jones off at the second weekend, which is, it's Indiana Jones. It shouldn't be knocked off by a small-ish budget film from a studio mostly known for Christian movies, but there we are.
Apparently it's really good.
It is, yeah. That's what I've heard.
No, I've heard good things.
Here you go. Actually, Andrew, 56% ain't that bad, though, only because nobody saw it in the first place.
I mean, it has made a lot of money, right? But again, compared to the budget, it's obviously considered a flop.
I mean, I'm looking 247. That's what the number is.
I know a lot of people that liked it, though. I do know a lot of people that like this film, obviously. But obviously, they don't know any better. That's the thing. So anyway,
Frank Marshall.
Yeah, I do have a lot of respect for Frank Marshall, actually. It's a shame he's married to KK there.
Yeah, and it even got beat by Insidious, the new Insidious movie this weekend.
Is it good?
I don't know. I've heard that the new Insidious movie is absolute garbage.
Red Door, isn't it called? Red Door or something like that? Yeah.
Beat it out by about almost 10 million.
There you go. How we do it at Mr. Brown Alliance. That's me. That is definitely me. They should have cast Daisy Ridley to fly a plane better than Indy and use the power of archaeology far better than him without a degree or having ever travelled. Yes, she could have stolen everything.
The funny thing is that they did basically just do that. That's just Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, with the exception of flying, because neither of them fly. But every other word of that applies perfectly to her character in this film.
Gonzi, you want to say?
I was going to say, did she bypass the compressor?
That was so sad, wasn't it? When he was in the plane, he had to get rescued by Wally Bridge, and he was like cowering in the corner like an old man, and then he goes, and what was he say about the thing that made them go in the wrong direction? I can't remember what he was saying.
Continental drift.
That's it. I was just thinking to myself, this is really sad. It really is reducing this man.
This is an Indiana Jones film, everybody. Can you fucking believe it?
Allegedly.
Can you believe it?
And also what made me laugh was that before they jumped out of the plane, he goes, parachute. And she grabs his hat. You know, the last thing you're going to be thinking about if you're jumping out of a plane is to grab somebody's hat. Do you know what I mean? It was just so ridiculous. This film.
Honestly, like one of the worst parts of the movie is when he just has to prove why they need him. Because I mean, I can fix it. It's literally so sad. It's like, oh yeah, the only reason why you guys need me is because I can fix the car with a piece of gum. There you go. It's like, oh,
he's probably just making that up as well. It's like Moroccan chewing gum. It's made from the heat proof sap of the bunga bunga tree. Yeah, that sounds right. Just trust me. You need me.
Do you know what? Indiana Jones should have punched Wally Bridge because he's punched a woman before in the saga. Do you remember when he's punched that woman? He punched a woman in Temple of Doom.
Second one, yeah.
Temple of Doom. He turned around, he smacked her right in the face. You never get away with that today. Definitely never get away with that today. But anyway.
Through the time hole. We need to save Hitler's life.
Arsehole, more like. Okay, let's move on. It's genuinely upsetting, folks. I just thought I'd throw this in. Disney has announced its 100 Years of Disney event will be in October. We can expect major Disney releases like major shows and movies, along with maybe announcements. Possibly also they're going to do Pixar's Elemental for some reason, but 100 years of Disney. What would Walt Disney be thinking now about his company, where it's at?
Well, he's dead, so he's not thinking anything, really.
It's the subtitle for the event, 100 Years of Disney, from Mickey Mouse to Elemental. And it tells its own story. It's just, once loved properties now producing stuff that no one in their right mind would go and see.
I will say this comment from Atom Gray is spot on. Because up until recently, Disney was just well respected and loved. 60 years of history, 40 years of shite.
I mean, I used to love Disney when I was a kid.
Yeah, same here.
And as an adult, I thought I mean, there was one point where they actually wasn't making any money at all. But I did like the stuff they did make. So they were very dark. Was it the Black Cauldron? That was dark. And something this way, was it Wicked Comes? That was extremely dark for a kids movie. They were delving deep into darkness, weren't they? The Disney organization.
Disney darkness, and now it's definitely a different form of Disney darkness. Ego Kranatos, 90s had good shit. It did.
It did.
It did.
I think it was Little Mermaid that turned it around, didn't it? Little Mermaid, the cartoon, turned the whole thing around.
R2 says more like, but are we thinking early noughties?
Yeah.
But even said, I went to see Enchanted 2008. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's when it was on the up, wasn't it? So I think Little Mermaid was the thing that turned it around. Sorry?
I think from 2015 from 2013 till now. That's when Disney started going to shit. When Illumination started to pop up, that's when they went to shit.
Yes.
So 2013.
So here you go. Vex Electronica. I loved Enchanted. Yeah, I did too. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I fell in love with Amy Adams in that film. Thought she was cute and gorgeous. And
second movie was shite. I've not seen. The
second movie was rubbish.
No, there's a second one.
Yeah, there is.
Oh.
Shame.
How the mighty have fallen.
Well,
Yep.
Deserved.
mm,
Yeah,
No, with
deserved.
the way they run everything now, it's deserved.
they only got themselves to blame.
Yep.
Fuck. Anyway, let's move on.
Well, they're still operating, aren't they? So they're not dead yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Okay, so Superman is a story that refuses to go away. James Gunn has been, I think he dropped another tweet as well today confirming Superman's origin story will not be shown in Superman Legacy.
Every time I see this picture, it looks like he's doing a poo. I don't know why. Just it's weird. Also, there's another thing that dropped today, Brownie, that I don't know if it's true, but he says that he's going to include the Batman film in this new DC world. Did you read that?
Blue Man's going to be happy then.
I read that they were thinking of turning it into its own cinematic universe, but I wasn't sure if they were going to include it in this particular one.
Well, I don't know if it's true because I read it on Facebook. It said James Gunn is now saying that the Batman is part of his DC universe, and yeah, he's going to include that.
So what you're saying is you've read it on the internet.
I read it on Facebook.
Well, it's true then, isn't it?
I don't know if it's true. That's what I'm saying. I take it with a pinch of salt, like Doomcop does.
It would make a lot more sense than introducing a new Batman at this point.
Yeah, I guess.
If we've already got one.
Yeah. I just hope this Superman is bright and hopeful and, and stuff like that. Rather than the dark.
An actual Superman.
Yeah, actual Superman, yeah.
But if they do end up winding the Batman into this, then that means that Superman's first villain could well be 4chan nerds, which is fun.
Yeah, could be.
Here you go, folks. Bank of Hostman Socrates for $5. Just a friendly reminder. This image is from All-Star Superman, wherein Superman dies. Oops.
Oh, is it? I thought it was from the Legacy. I thought it was from Legacy. I never read the Legacy comic. I don't even know what it's about.
Yikes. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Stream killer.
Superman.
But we'll see. I just do they still think that they'll keep the release date with the writer's strike and everything? Because is James Gunn on strike too?
Yeah, they're all on strike. Actors are going on strike soon, they're saying. So so that's going to be, I think Hollywood's going to have a big pause at the moment. And you know what? The people that are in charge of Hollywood, they're happy because now they've got an excuse to get rid of all the people, that are actually causing damage to the profitability of their companies. So, yeah.
Yeah, plus if Hollywood goes on pause, then there'll be a lot more openings in the cinema for foreign films, so Korean cinema, Japanese cinema, etc.
Here you go. Actually, Andrew, he finished the script, so he's finished it.
He did, he did. Apparently, according to reports.
So does that mean they could film it but not actually alter it?
Well, if the actors go on strike, they're not filming anything, are they? So,
okay.
So we'll see.
Fair enough then. Okay, so I'll be looking forward to it. I kind of am maybe a little bit.
I'll see when the first trailer drops.
That's
see
right.
where they go with the story.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a shame they dangled the carrot with Cavill.
Yep.
Never mind. Shall we move on?
Moving on. Move along. What's this?
Okay, so Deadpool is...
no.
A couple of Deadpool things, folks. Karen Sonny says Deadpool 3 is still hard R and does not feel different from the two previous films.
Haven't they got the girl who played Elektra in this? What's her name?
Jennifer Garner.
That's the next one.
Jennifer Garner. Yeah, they say that she's in it.
Guess what? It's multiverse, folks.
Yay.
At least it's not time travel.
The Lord has left. He's left us. He's so disgusted. He's gone.
This is how you get rid of him. Is just bring up the multiverse and he just vanished.
Right, he's gone. Yeah, literally disappeared.
I'm not talking about the fucking multiverse.
It's gone, folks. We are a Lord down. So bear in mind this is Disney, folks.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, it's true. It's Disney. I would have said I have faith in Ryan Reynolds, but I don't think that Ryan Reynolds has that power where he can overrule what. Well, I don't even know. Is it Feige that's making this one?
I did read that he's got free reign to do what he wants because I think they're that desperate to earn some money.
Yeah, probably. But I don't know. Didn't they say that he's not allowed to improv?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because of the strike.
Oh man.
Well, it's fuck then, folks.
Yeah, but we'll see. Have you guys seen the leaks? Have you guys read them?
No.
No, I've read them. They're very, very, very interesting. Let's just say that they tie into the MCU.
Oh God.
Yep, into Loki. So there you go.
What?
Oh man.
Deadpool 3, Dead on Arrival.
Mm.
Lord John. Do you think Lord's brand new computer's gone?
I
Imagine.
don't know. Maybe.
Has it released the Terminators? Okay, we'll move on from this because it's another Deadpool, folks.
Sure.
So you go in.
Oh, she is. She's going to be in it then.
Jennifer Garner.
I do like Jennifer Garner, though. I think she's very, 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 very shaggable.
Oh, she had it back in the day.
Yeah,
she
back in the
still
day,
has
yeah.
it now,
She's
mate.
still pretty. Yeah.
No, for me, I don't know. I haven't seen a recent picture though. Has she been
She's
in
all right.
anything
Yeah,
recently?
she's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, she was in that film with the guy in Deadpool. It was a Netflix film. I can't remember what it was called, where he was from the future and he comes back to meet his young self. Do you remember? I can't remember what was that called.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
I
she
remember.
was
I
in that.
remember.
Yeah.
With the kid that's gonna play Percy Jackson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And also the
Yeah,
Hulk
yeah.
was in it as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The guy played the Hulk's playing his dad. Yeah, so
I remember the Atom Project, if I remember
that's it.
correctly.
Adam Project. Yeah.
You know, Lord had a power cut.
Hey, did he? Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yikes.
I wonder if he's got thunderstorms. We had a massive thunderstorm here yesterday.
Did
the
you?
The sky just lit up.
Oh man.
It was unbelievable.
That's
I
UFOs.
had a lightning storm. I think it was a week ago. So like constant lightning every less than 10 seconds. Honestly, I think every 7 seconds. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yes, it pissed it down yesterday, folks. Okay, so are we kind of excited to see her back? She's not a bad actress, is she?
I do like her. It's just I didn't really want her to come back as this character, to tell you the truth. But, yeah. Oh, he's back. The Lord is back.
Yeah, apologies, power cut there.
I see.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that it could be interesting. But hearing all of these, old X-Men and those properties reprise their roles, it's starting to scare me a bit.
Here you go. Johnny Lawrence's mum. No, her best work was A-List. Yeah, I can remember the show.
Yeah, she was great in A-List.
Was that J.J. Abrams?
Yes, it was.
It was, yes.
And Tarantino did a couple of episodes because he loved it.
Yeah.
It was Abrams and Kurtzman. So
yeah. Well, Kurtzman was just in those days. He was just in the background, wasn't he? Yeah. So
yeah, he's just a T-boy.
JJ,
the dynamic duo.
Here you go, folks. Franco Walker, the Lord is respawned. Very good. Okay.
Actually, it could be another version of me that's come back out of a multiverse. Because that's just the current meta. I die, and then a few seconds later, they think, "Oh no, I still need you," and they bring me back.
You're a massive fan. You're a massive fan of the multiverse.
Oh, I adore them. Yes.
So is this a bit like Rick and Morty, where there's a Council of Lords?
Probably.
Can
neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, let's move on. And yeah, this was a picture that dropped of
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. What more can you say?
Yeah, so they're done filming, right? Or are they still doing it?
The filming at the moment, yeah.
Oh man.
Thing is, though, I think Deadpool should have stopped at the first one.
Yeah.
You can't just keep doing the same joke, you know.
Well, I know a reason why it didn't stop. How much money did it make?
Yeah, I know.
Z?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, the fastest growing R-rated
Film, yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Did it make over $1 billion?
No, I don't
No,
think
it
so.
did $782 million US.
Took my headphones off for that.
I think we need to find a story where there's $1 billion mentioned every week just to do that because it's fun. Here you go, super chat. Romeo Tango November Zulu for 10 New Zealand dollars. Hail, Brown, and panel of awesomeness. After this excellent stream, Outcast Creative is doing his 1-year mega stream, and there's a link.
Oh,
I think he's done it.
Yeah, it was before this.
Yeah.
got to support the megas.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we move on from Deadpool? I feel we've done far too much Deadpool.
Oh God, there we go.
Be warned, there's possibly a little bit of politics, folks. I know some people hate it. Sorry. Let's move on. But not yet.
What's this?
I did check the Outcast Creative thing is actually ongoing, which is good because you can't wrap up a 1-year mega stream before this one. Like 1-year mega stream should be a minimum of 11 hours long, I think.
Oh.
It should be a minimum of 11 hours, 59 minutes before StreamYard boots you off. So, yes. Okay, so there is a cut of Dune. Is it Dune or Dune? June?
Dune.
Dune 2. 3 hours. Is that 15 minutes?
Yes.
That's not long enough for me. I want longer. Are we going to sit and watch a 3 hour 50? I am. What do you think?
I
Mark?
would. I think I would like that one to be longer. The depressing thing is that, oh no, it does say current cut, so maybe that is the one we'll get. That would be nice. There's a lot to wrap up, so they're going to need to fill the time.
Here you go. Oh, sorry, chat moved up. Connor, I can't beat sitting in a cinema for over 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, they should just
Dune,
add an
though. It's
intermission.
Dune. Yeah, it's Dune, though.
Oh, we've got really nice reclining seats, which are really.
Has it got
added
commode?
out. No.
I'm really looking forward to this.
I still haven't seen the first one.
MI7
watch
and
it.
Dune 2.
I
is-
will.
One of the only ones I can
Worth it.
say I'm slightly looking forward to.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
man.
really looking forward to this.
It's been sitting on my PC like in 4K for the past year.
What?
Yeah, I just haven't touched it.
Well, you need to watch it just before you go and see part 2.
I will watch it before I see part 2, but I don't know if I'd see part 2 in the cinema. Depends on if I really enjoy part 1.
I can say watching part 1 in the cinema was fantastic.
Yeah, here it was a super phenomenon in France. Actually, it was huge. It was everywhere. Even on the news, they were just repetitively they were playing Dune, everything Dune when it first came out.
That's because
They were
it's a
really
French
selling it.
director, but it's also really successful. So obviously we have to go and all see it in France. It's a cultural thing, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean technically he's Canadian. Well, French Canadian. Yeah, that's true.
Here you go,
Well, he's
Iceman. Part
successful,
1
so you
is
can claim him as your own.
Yeah.
part 1 is a bore fest. Oh,
No. Part 1 is
what?
really classy world building.
Iceman. Pack it in.
Dune.
But I don't mind slow movies, so I can do it. And yeah, since I'm on the panel, well, it's pronounced Denis Villeneuve. There you go.
Oh, I'm glad you said that because I've been pronouncing it differently every single time I've said it. So it's Denis Villeneuve. Is that right?
Villeneuve, yeah.
Villeneuve. Okay. I will try
Uh,
and
Ty-
remember that.
Tai Fung, the cinema experience was excellent. Yes, it was. And then Johnny Lawrence's mum asks, remember intermissions? No.
Yep. Intermissions. They should have one, honestly. Well, if it's really, really long, then yeah.
You go, R2, part 1 is pretty slow at the uninspired reviewer, that's you. But that's because it's mostly set up. the second part will have a lot more action.
I'm hoping, because
Yeah.
the first one really was very slow. But I haven't read the books, by the way.
Will there only be 2 parts or more?
I
I
could
don't
go
know. I
for
did read
3.
somewhere that there might be a third one.
I could go
It
with
depends
3.
because they're only really at the end of the first act, and like part 1 ends the first act of the book. It was a strange decision because I mean it is a slow film. I don't particularly mind that, but they did deliberately keep out most of the actual sort of substantive action parts of the book are not in part 1 of the film. So it was a bit of a gamble to say, well, we'll trust people to actually have the patience to sit through this and wait then a few years before stuff actually starts to click into place. But it seems to have done well enough with the audience that enough people were willing to do that, which I think is to be lauded. I prefer it when that's the case, as opposed to we must have absolutely everything all at once immediately. And then you sort of lose track of where you are, and the action sequences just become depressing, and the story tends to suffer as a result of that. They've made a few changes from the books, which will be interesting to see how they wrap up. There are a number of important characters who either aren't in there or have very different roles. But they did so far manage to make it make sense within the film version, so I'm hoping they'll carry that on. I wouldn't say that I adored the first one, but I did like it, and liking something in the current cinematic oeuvre is quite enough for me.
Well, we're even lucky that we got a part 2, because the first one didn't make that much money, that much profit, actually.
It was released on digital same day as well, which didn't help. But it was such a good. People went to see it at the cinema, thank God. R2, there may be a third part in the offing. I'd be up for that. Actually, Andrew, yeah, Children of Dune.
No, not necessarily, because again, so the first film is only basically the first act of the first book, and that's book 1 of, I think there are 7, most of which are Frank Herbert himself, although the latter ones were his son in collaboration. So the third one wouldn't need to be Children of Dune, in the same way that the second one is not going to be Emperor of Dune. I think it's the second book. So the 3 films, if they do them, will all be book 1, I would imagine. It's a while before you get the Children of Dune anyway. I think Smilex in the chat asked if Paul becomes a genocidal warlord maniac at the end. That's, again, not book 1. That's a thing later. And that's the point at which I think they'll have to stop adapting Dune, because at some point he fuses with the consciousness of a worm and becomes like the God Emperor worm thing. It becomes weird and psychedelic because Frank Herbert took too many drugs. So I'm hoping they don't do that, because it's hard to put that on the screen.
Wow.
I'd be up for that, though. I'd watch that. Okay.
Yeah, but it might not translate well.
I don't know. Just drop a couple of acid tabs. Well away.
That's what he did when he wrote it. So yeah, it could
work.
work.
Oh, yes. My type of film then. Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. 3 hours 15, not long enough for me. I'd quite easily sit in that movie watching 4 hours easy. Okay, should we move on? This was the big news this week, wasn't it?
Yes.
15, that's 15 million plus accounts have joined Threads in less than a day.
And absolutely no one in the mainstream media who probably has joined Threads will be asking the kind of questions they ask of Twitter. Like, for example, how many of those accounts are real and how many of them are bots? Because I'd be interested to find that out.
For the uninitiated Lord, what is Threads? Because I saw Threads trending, and I thought it meant the 1984 nuclear...
the film.
Yeah, the TV film.
Yeah. So for the...
This Threads could be an equivalent disaster to a nuclear bomb, but that remains to be seen. Threads is Mark Zuckerberg's new competitor, allegedly, to Twitter, launched as part of his Meta company, although it's more closely tied with Instagram at the moment than it is its own thing. Effectively, it's a giant, very well-funded online safe space, because it's the kind of place you go. He says explicitly that it's the kind of place we want to encourage people to be nice to each other. If you go on the actual website announcing the launch of Threads, it says you can link it to your Instagram. That's point 1. Point 2, the second most important sales pitch is it's really easy to block and report people, and we have really big teams to make sure you don't have to hear anything you don't want to. So the whole thing is just reactive, because lots of people say that hate speech is proliferating on Twitter. So Zuckerberg has said, well, good business strategy. Let's market ourselves on being the place which censors even more content than Twitter used to do. and expecting people to do that. If anything, it's more of a competitor with LinkedIn, because the kind of posts that they shared as examples of the content they want to see just resemble that incredibly banal self-help genre that LinkedIn really specializes in. It's like, this is what I had for breakfast. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Hey, anyone have any nice recommendations for places to eat out today? And that's simply not as addictive as hating people. And that's what Twitter does incredibly well. So I don't really see this competing with Twitter in the short term.
I don't mind pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, I love
don't mind
pineapple on pizza.
I wouldn't choose it, but I don't mind it. Z?
Yes, I love pineapple on pizza,
Yeah.
but I'm
Ian?
not getting a Threads account.
No, I don't. I don't really like pineapple with food. Basically,
Okay.
I don't. Yeah.
Apparently, didn't all the people that Musk sacked, weren't they
Like pineapple?
weren't they re-employed by Zoidberg?
I don't know if all of them were reemployed by
Zoidberg.
him, but Twitter is reportedly looking into suing Meta for data scraping and other infringements on protected
You mean that?
IP stuff. So
You mean this?
yeah, I think so. Again, hard to say how far that goes exactly, because Elon is not necessarily the most legally aware of people. Hence calling, random goodwill ambassadors pedophiles for daring to try and save children. He's a bit of an erratic kind of guy. So I don't know how far it will go. The layout I've seen of Threads, because obviously I'm not going to get one because I'm not, that gay. But it looks like a repetitive sort of clone of Twitter. It doesn't look particularly innovative. And again, I don't understand really even the medium term appeal of a platform which basically says, come here and you will only be clapped on the back. Most people don't want to be clapped on the back as much as they want to be slinging abuse at each other. So that's the reason Twitter is more famous than LinkedIn is.
And I mean, it's like going back on Facebook, isn't it? What on earth you want to do that for? And the worst thing is, it is linked to your Instagram account, quite fused to it. In fact, you can't delete your Threads account without entirely deleting your Instagram account as well.
Yikes.
So people are trapped and they can't leave.
Yeah.
Avoid Facebook, avoid Instagram, avoid TikTok. That's my advice.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know everybody does this to a degree, but it is worth looking at the huge list of data that Threads will harvest from you as well if you do sign up to it. I mean, it's an immense amount, and it's, I think, probably slightly more than most other social media companies would do. So it's Twitter, but it's going to try and force you to be nice to people. It will block you. It has the safety warnings if you've ever posted anything at all ever that might be conceived as vaguely to the right of Lenin. Then if you go and follow that person, it will say, are you sure you want to follow this person? Because they've been found to post repeated misinformation or go against community guidelines, as we found in review. It just seems like the worst possible place to be. It's like Mastodon even, or whatever that thing was called.
Mm. Except
I said something completely different there. Anyway,
Threads is a lot more invasive. I mean, it literally wants access to every single thing on your phone.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
avoid it, folks.
It is your data being harvested. I mean, last week alone, Meta lost a European Union court case against antitrust regulators because of the crap they're doing. And only a couple of months ago, we'll find something like 1.2 billion euros.
Oh, you can do that a bit better, can't you?
1.2
Headphones off.
Headphones, folks.
Yep.
billion.
There you go. Did he say it yet? Oh, he did.
Yep.
Good.
That's it. And yeah, that was only a couple of months ago they were fined that.
When you do that, your sound card doesn't like that at
No,
all.
it doesn't.
Our ears don't like it
Yeah.
either. Okay.
At all.
So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
There is the other thing as well, which is that you are basically, and in full knowledge, signing up for an organization which will enact exactly the same kind of combination of data harvesting and censorship as we now know that Twitter was doing before Elon Musk took over. And we know this in part because there's a court summary judgment handed down so far anyway, by one of the lower courts in the US, which is prohibiting the US government from collaborating or talking to the current social media executives for fear that they will continue to infringe First Amendment rights and other rights to privacy and to freedom of speech and assembly. So this is the kind of thing that Zuckerberg is attempting to recreate, the bad old days when the government knew everything you were going to say and without warning could kick you off of the internet. That's what he seems to want to bring back. The only people who go and voluntarily sign up to this kind of thing are people who really don't have a problem with their lives being controlled by other people. In fact, they kind of wish that they were. But if you do sort of value your own ability to think and speak freely, and indeed that involves, hearing people you don't necessarily like, then don't go anywhere near this shitfest because it's not going to be fun.
I'll just say quickly, here we go. Mr. Brown Lights, that's me. The Lord has spoken.
He has
everybody.
spoken.
He has spoken. Avoid it like the plague, folks. Avoid it. Okay, shall we move on? Yes.
Sure.
Are we?
I don't know.
Channel favourites back in the news, folks.
Oh, wow.
Well, speaking of
Greta.
wankers, so we haven't really moved on.
Punchable
Another-
face woman.
Another photo
Cla-
opportunity.
Yeah, climate activist Greta Thunberg has been criminal charged and could face prison time.
I doubt.
This was from when she got arrested the other week.
Arrested for what?
Protesting.
Yeah, but for protesting what again? The environment? Or where was it now? Sweden? Oh, God.
Was it windmills or something? I can't remember, but I think 6 months in clink would do that person the world of good.
Yeah,
If
but
it's
they
Sweden,
put-
that she won't get that because Swedish penal justice is notoriously, non-existent. So it's been a problem at the moment when they're trying to, say, arrest migrants who come over and try to throw grenades at their neighbors because, peace and love and harmony and diversity is our strength. If they're under the age of, I think it's 21 or it could be 19, then they tend to get put in youth penal correction facilities, which you can just basically walk out of. So
Yep.
even if she does end up in a Swedish prison, she can leave at her own volition any given time. I don't think she'll even end up there, though, because most of these stunts are coordinated with the police, never mind, against them.
100%. And have you guys seen what a Swedish prison cell looks like? It doesn't really look like a prison cell, honestly.
Is it 5-star?
Oh, yeah.
Basically,
this
yes.
is like a premium prison cell, really. It just looks like a one-bedroom apartment, to be
So
honest.
did she forget her clothes
We'll
or
move on, don't worry.
something? Why are they arresting her in her undies? Or what's going on here? what's going? I don't understand.
It's called fashion, Mega Geeky.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
It's today's
I'll
youth.
take it back then. Don't know what's going on.
A few of the people are not happy that I'm doing this, but
Well, it's the internet. That's inevitable.
yeah. Okay, I will say there are kind of stories that genuinely I think people need to know about, etc., etc. But anyway, should we move on from old dwarf? Let's move on.
Oh, Blue Boy should be here for this one.
We kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, didn't we? Rumor Warner Brothers to expand and build out Matt Reeves' The Batman vision to the entire cinematic universe. There you go.
Well, I mean, what would they do? Would they just make it a Batman cinematic universe? Because if it's a Batman cinematic universe, then it could be fine. At least you could flesh out the villains some more, and you can flesh out Batman so that when they ultimately meet, you can have a better story. But I don't know. I just don't see it being its own separated universe if they start to add a second Superman and all of that, in addition to what James Gunn has in store. So
I just think that I don't like the casting for this Batman at
Sorry,
all.
Barbara.
But there you go.
I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in this. Is anybody?
yeah, if you can make a better movie, yeah.
I saw the teaser to the Penguin on HBO, and I am actually very intrigued by the expansion of this universe.
Does it look good?
It actually genuinely does. Go and check out the Penguin teaser on
Okay.
YouTube. But it's I'm certainly intrigued, and Colin Farrell was welcome back as the Penguin, in my opinion. So take a look.
There you go, folks. Z recommending something. The Penguin.
The Penguin Wing.
How long do you guys think before they bring back the Joker? Do you think the Batman 2 will directly bring back the Joker? Because I mean, they can't not do a movie with the Joker. It's too much of a moneymaker to pass him on, or to wait.
It depends
even
if
too
he
long.
survives the one with Lady Gaga in it, doesn't it? Because that's the next
Lady
Joker film.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like that movie, the title already is a spoiler in itself. Like Folie à deux. Folie à deux means well, it's a psychological term. It means shared psychosis. So technically, in my mind, already with the title, everything that's gonna happen in the movie is just fake. So it was all in their imagination. They're probably gonna end the movie with him in a mental asylum. That's it.
You go, folks. Andy Mouse 123. Bring back action. Bring back action superheroes. Yeah.
Yep.
Z's put a link to the Penguin.
Ooh, I'll take a look. I shall take a look.
Obviously, we're not affiliated to HBO, but if they want to throw some money my way, I'll quite easily take it off their hands.
HBO.
Here you go, folks. Peter Pidrak for $20. Thank you, Peter. I am behind by 20 minutes. Thank you for talking about Sound of Freedom. It is an issue that has been covered in popular culture for decades. Batman talked about this. It is hard because you can't say that evil isn't real.
Normally, I would dismiss this kind of thing largely because of the studio it comes from, which it sounds prejudiced, but then if you've ever seen a Christian film, you can understand why. But I've heard some fairly interesting things about this one, not least the fact that it isn't a Christian film. So it might, and also from some fairly reputable people. In other words, I dismissed the suggestion, which was already doing the rounds in, say, Rolling Stone most famously, that this is QAnon adjacent, because I think one of the stars is QAnon adjacent, as though that really means anything. But I've heard some fairly respectable people say interesting things about it. It does sound like it might actually be a fairly hard-hitting and sincere thing, as opposed to a preachy and glossy thing. So I might take a look at this one.
And it's doing better than Indiana Jones.
It is. Yes, it is.
Anything's better than Indiana Jones.
It is. Watching paint dry. Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yep.
Move along.
And by the way, KK get fucked. Let's move on. It doesn't get any better, folks. What's this guy? Shimu Lu?
Shang-Chi.
Says,
Liu, I think.
Yeah, says 2 was meant to be released just after Avengers, the Kang Dynasty. Well, that ain't going to get made, is it? However, he adds that it keeps getting pushed back due to circumstances beyond my control, meaning the first one was shite, probably.
There was a good fight on the bus, but that was about it. But the reason why they're pushing it back is because they know there's no money in continuing with this, because the first one didn't really break even, did it?
No, I made about 400 million on the dot, actually.
And obviously
432.
They don't want to admit that it didn't do very well, otherwise their woke thing would be blown.
Jim D, expect that sequel never.
Yeah.
Atom Gray, bin.
Thing is that I used to read Shang. I used to call him Shang-Chi when I was a kid. I used to read him, right? And they drew him like a hero. This guy looks like he comes from a soap opera.
Yeah, he does actually.
A medical drama.
Wrong. Yeah, it just is so wrong. He doesn't look like, if they cast someone that looked like Bruce Lee or something like that, then you'd be in the first step. But they didn't. They cast this guy. It just looks ordinary.
I've not seen any of the Marvel movies apart from the Spider-Man. From the rest of it, I've not seen any of it. Not bothered. Not interested.
Yeah, honestly, don't bother. And plus, Simu Liu's career, I haven't really seen him in anything. The thing I knew him from was that TV show called Kim's Convenience, which was, it was pretty good. But after that, he's only been in flops. He's been in really weird flops. The only like high profile movie that he's gonna be in recently will be Barbie. That's it.
But it's really funny because they talk about diversity, and in Marvel, they have diversity before it became woke, obviously, the comics. So they had a chance to actually do this really well, but they didn't. They fell back on the same old crap where he gets kicked in the balls all the time by females, and stuff like that. So it's their fault that this isn't working. If they had a proper script writer and they looked at this property properly and they did it in the way that in the best spirit of the comics, it would have succeeded. But they didn't do that. So there you go.
Yeah, at least they had the decency to give us good fight scenes. Well, enjoyable fight scenes. Because I think it was Jackie Chan's people that that choreographed them. Yeah.
Apart from the magic bangle fight at the end.
So rubbish. Hey.
Dog shit, everybody. Let's move on. It was a bit of a slow news week this week. I do apologise.
Better do better. Shall we all do better?
Captain America, Brave New World star Anthony Mackie calls out the lack of black characters in Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings film.
That's because it was written by a white woman. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you expect? What? Sorry?
I mean, Frodo did steal someone's bling, so technically, we're not that far removed.
Well, you could have all the hobbits as black. Yeah.
It really doesn't make no sense when I say things like that. If a black man had written a character like Shaft, if you look at Shaft, there was a lot of black people in that because the author is black. What would you expect? If there's a white person writing something or creating something, most of them are going to be white, aren't they? So I don't know why.
Especially for the time that it was written.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
I really like Anthony Mackie.
He's a nice guy. He's funny.
Has he been told to say this shit, or is he just genuinely told it?
He's been drinking the Kool-Aid, isn't he?
Oh, Anthony, what are you doing? Fuck's sake.
Looks like the only person that's saying the right things about the black community is Morgan Freeman. He's the only one. They can't get rid of Morgan Freeman because he's just too well established now. So, and plus he's quite old, so he doesn't care. He could retire happily. But
no, isn't he retired already?
He has retired, but people are still wanting him to be in the movies and stuff because it bolsters up their credibility for money, to put money into it. So if you have him in a small part, then it just rounds it off, doesn't it, with cast? So
here you go. Adam Gray, sorry, chat moved up. Oh, sorry. You suck, bird boy.
Also, like the Harry Potter thing, they did actually, I think they recast one of Harry's friends. I want to say it's Dean Thomas. I might have got the name wrong, but he's black from about the third film onwards. If he's complaining about the lack of major characters, well, okay, but bear in mind also that's set before 1997. So you have you had immigration, but it wasn't mass immigration of anything like the scale we're now accustomed to. And also, it's in Scotland, where 99.2% of the population is white, and Hogwarts is supposed to be modeled on this elite boarding school, and whether you like it or not, the fact is that certain demographics tend to go to elite boarding schools more than others. I just will always come back to the thing that I think Ian said many times, if you want new black characters, make new black characters, but stop complaining when they don't get presented as tokens in stuff that other people have already made.
I mean, I think it was Morgan Freeman that said, why do we have Black History Month? Because it's pointless. And why? And also with films, why aren't they making new black characters? They're not making new black characters. They're just giving us hand-me-downs. I think he said it didn't say it that way, but he obviously said it in such a way that
Michelle Rodriguez said it that way, actually.
Yeah. When she was going to a car, I saw that footage. Yeah.
You go, Romeo. Mackie is so off the mark on this. What a toolbag. Yeah, I think he's spoilt himself.
Yeah, it's so weird. And
Don Cheadle said something similar recently. Don Cheadle came out and said, because he's in Secret Invasion, he said that he and Samuel L. Jackson couldn't understand and they were really disappointed when they weren't included in a Wakanda film. And I was thinking, well, Wakanda is just a magnet for black people now, is it? Because I'm pretty sure that's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
they probably wanted the work. Here you go, Bank of Osman, Socrates, $5. Cheers, Bank. No black people in Harry Potter. Will Kingsley
Shacklebolt. Yeah.
And Dean Thomas please stand?
Also, Lenny Henry did the voice for the bus, the possessed bus, and
Oh yeah, in number
Oh,
3,
yeah.
Prisoner of
number
Azkaban.
3. So there you go. So don't know what they're talking about.
One of the
And,
drunken heads was Jamaican as well. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
man.
definitely
Yeah.
representation.
Man.
Yes, so
Yeah,
and
man.
Hermione's played by a black actress on the stage play.
there you go. So
No, of course.
yeah.
Well, can't wait for the Harry Potter reboot. There we
Remake.
go.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's going to be terrible, isn't it? It's going to be
Falcon,
absolutely awful.
please.
Absolutely awful.
Filming's completed, by the way, for that.
I bet you they go hard on who's the Dumbledore
Hard
and
on?
his boyfriend. Hard on Dumbledore and his boyfriend. I bet they're going to really milk that one, aren't they?
Oh,
I don't know, because it'll be tricky for them. Well, I don't know. Will it be tricky? Because that's in the Grindelwald films, which are still,
Yes,
I
it
think,
is.
being made, even though nobody I know actually watches them. And it's mentioned occasionally in those, but it's not exactly a huge plot point in them. So it depends on whether the remade series on HBO wants to account for an attempt to put itself in the same lore as those films, which I'm not sure it necessarily would, because different studios are behind them and all the rest. So I don't know about that. But I wouldn't be surprised to hear more about it than we saw in the books or the original films, but I don't know if they'll make it a big thing.
It's what it is, right? They know what the audience want, but they're not going to give it to us. If they're going to remake Harry Potter, be true to the nature of Harry Potter. If you start tick boxing, then you're not going to be true to the nature of Harry Potter. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
And they're going to do the latter, aren't they? So
Well, maybe it's hard to say. J.K. Rowling is, I think, supposed to be quite heavily involved with this show.
Yes.
And so the immediate response to that was, well, that probably means they might not do too much box ticking when it comes to trans people, for example, which is a fair summation. But it is also worth remembering that until about 5 years ago, J.K. Rowling was a fairly soft left progressive type person who said, I'm happy for black people to play Hermione Granger or whoever else because it doesn't matter. And she retroactively makes Dumbledore gay to score woke points before woke was really a big thing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see there were more box ticking in this show than we might otherwise have hoped.
Connor, it will be woke as ook. JK is super woke outside of the stuff. Yes.
Well,
The
some of
thing
the
is
time, I think
Sorry,
she's
Dan.
trolling us because she came out at one point and said that wizards just urinate wherever they like and just magic it away.
But look, what I
mean they
don't
don't?
understand, right, is why remake Harry Potter? Why doesn't she create new
Broke.
characters,
Broke.
young new characters now with different adventures? Because it's her world, isn't it? Why? What is the point of actually remaking it? We've seen it.
They tried
Well,
that with the
I kind of
Fantastic
sort of.
Beasts and they failed miserably. But I
Yeah.
blame J.K.
Yeah.
Rowling because she was the writer on that,
But
and
the
I don't think
reason-
that she knows how to write
right.
film.
I got to admit though, I did kind of warm to the first one, but the rest of
first
them
one
were
was
absolute
okay.
nonsense. But that's the thing, you see. She's a writer of novels. What
Yep.
you needed was a screenplay writer to put to actually make things move faster and
Dollars.
actually shape the
Yeah.
screenplay to actually
100%.
match a movie. But they didn't
Dollars.
do that. That was the mistake.
She's
they
a questionable writer of novels as well, but she's got fantastic ideas. She's not necessarily the best writer. Is the first Fantastic Beasts film the one when Ezra Miller is on the run from the law again?
Yes.
Is
yes.
that the plot of that
That's
film?
where
I
it
thought so.
started. That's where it started.
Irony.
I just like the idea that he was collecting all these creatures and he had that bag that had the all
It
the
was
things.
whimsical.
It's really magical, I thought, but I don't know. That's just me. I thought the first one was. Sorry.
You know, but there's also a huge attachment to Harry Potter. For example, I'm someone who grew up with the Harry Potter films. I mean, I was growing up with the characters as they were progressing, so I got to watch the last film in the cinema, you know. And I don't know, I just have a massive attachment to Daniel Radcliffe and every single person, even the extras in the cast, because they're so memorable and they kept all of them throughout the entire series mostly.
Because you saw him grow up.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's just gonna be a huge barrier of people that need to accept already the new casting when that is announced. But I'm sure that the people who are fans of the books will appreciate the change of format, which will, you know, permit to have everything of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's going to be the difference, isn't it? Because it's a series format, that there's a huge amount in every single book, especially toward the later ones, because the books just became longer and longer and longer, that you just didn't have time or the place to put into the film as well. Whereas this series, nominally at least, will have the opportunity to show pretty much every event in the book. So it could
Yeah.
end up looking like a very different and more faithful production. It could. Whether it will is another matter.
Okay.
I know Chris Curtis. Is it Chris Curtis who wrote Love Actually? Isn't it? Isn't it the writer Chris Curtis?
Richard Curtis.
Oh, Richard Curtis. Sorry, Richard Curtis. I remember when he was writing Love Actually, he was having lunch with Lenny Henry. This is meant to be a true story. Lenny Henry said to him, "Where's all the black people in your films?"
And Jamaica.
And Richard Curtis got so guilty about that he cast that one black guy in Love Actually. He just put one black guy in there. So yeah,
I think this is funny in my head, but I'm going to ask the question: will we get Jake Potter?
I hope not. I hope not, because I have this thing about originality. Why screw around with, I don't believe in race swapping or gender swapping. I think it's disgusting. It's no respect to the original material. But if it's JK doing it to her own project, then there's nothing I can say really, because it belongs to her. She can do whatever she wants.
It would be difficult to do because, certainly in the first one, Harry Potter's a 10-year-old kid, so it would be really hard to make him an old, grumpy, depressed, miserable, suicidal old man.
Yeah.
Z, are you available, please?
Gui Ramos in the chat for whatever that is.
Brazilian folks.
Would love to hear everyone's take on it. Will woke filmmaking ever die? If so, what will it take to die?
Money.
I do see it losing strength. Yes,
money
and hemorrhaging audience numbers.
Yeah,
you've got to start telling better stories.
They got to do better.
You've got to do better, Hollywood.
That's what's going to happen, though. It's going to get to a point where the stories are the same all across the board, and people are going to notice it big time, and then people are not going to be watching it. And then,
well, look at the multiverse.
Yeah, they're going to have to change it.
I've got a big section on this in this Indiana Jones script, as Mr. Brown well knows, because he's had to spend many days with the script at this point. But
painful.
It's basically this idea that, as everybody knows anyway, these kind of woke beliefs are luxury beliefs. They're something you can afford to do when money is looking good, and specifically when money is being printed and thrown at you like it doesn't mean anything. That's when you can afford diversity hires, diversity opinions, luxury beliefs, and all the rest of that stuff, high status stuff. It's when you start losing all that money, and as he says, losing the audience share, that's when harder heads than people who currently exist at the studios will start saying, well, the diversity stuff isn't really making us money. And in fact, we're losing lots of money and we are in danger of going out of business. So it might be time that we maybe parked some of this and took a risk on these new guys. It's a bizarre, slightly perverted form of the old Hollywood Renaissance thing of the 1970s. As opposed to the 1930s, 40s, which was, again, just all empty spectacle and technology, but no story. And it became clapped out and it lost loads of money. And eventually they took risks on people like Steven Spielberg to tell new stories in their own way. And that's what led to this renaissance, which in turn leads to corporate Hollywood, which in turn gives us woke beliefs, which in turn leads to declining audience numbers. And it just repeats itself again. So money is the short form answer to that question.
Yes, money.
Lord, while you're up, are you available to read this, please?
Yes, from Espechetti for $5 Australian. It's almost like that's what the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them films. I have a notification in front of the rest of those words. Hold on. And my mouse is dying. There we go. It's almost like that's where the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them films should have been. I still feel unfairly baited about that.
It's the reason why those films didn't work is because of the screenplay. The screenplay didn't have any how shall I put it? It didn't move fast enough. It was very bloated. It was very, very slow. I remember watching the second one because I liked the first one, even though the first one was slow. I thought there was enough in there to gain my interest for the second one. When I went to the second one, I fell asleep. I literally fell asleep halfway through it because it was that slow.
Did it need somebody to say to JK, no?
Yeah, of course. And you needed you needed is a really
recurring
good screenplay editor to edit the slow bits out and to move the film faster. That's what you needed. But anyway.
Yeah, I hope
there's
JK
weird
doesn't
stuff in
write.
there as well, which is just kind of unforgivable, which is the law-breaking stuff. There's there's more of it than I can remember, but there's quite a lot of law-breaking stuff in Fantastic Beasts, which is unusual given that J.K. Rowling is so intimately involved in that product, and that's supposedly the thing she cares very much about.
Yeah.
There's not really a defense for that kind of thing either. That just means that she didn't care enough to remember what she herself had written and that had made her so successful she was in this new position.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Fantastic Beasts. One of the things I really liked about it was the ordinary human fell in love with was it
Yeah.
Rich. I thought that character was very interesting. I thought if they had more of that in there, that maybe the film would have been better. But that's just me, right?
Here you go, folks. Romeo Tango November Zulu for $5 New Zealand dollars. Thank you, my friend. Dislike Harry Potter, same here, as very derivative, but J.K. did write a closer loop time travel paradox properly, which no one can do now. Credits are
It's
where
true, yeah.
it's due.
Yep.
Also, Cider Feet's next comment did make me dribble a little bit of whiskey out, but that's very funny. But it's,
Have you still
no,
got,
right about the time travel though. That time travel, the closed timeline loop is basically the idea that you can only go back in time and do stuff that you've already gone back in time to do. So you can't change the past because you always did it. There's still problems with that, but it makes way more sense than spiraling out of control like Indiana Jones and The Flash did.
was it this one?
Yeah.
I didn't like Harry Potter, to tell you the truth. I thought it was abysmal. The first one was abysmal.
here.
As kids couldn't act at all. It was embarrassing every time they were on screen. But I do see the reason why kids like it. Do you know what I mean? So
In the chats, please get rid of Captain America. Yes, sir.
I haven't seen a
Yes,
Captain America slide yet.
sir.
And Fantastic Beasts also generated a lot of ill will when they fired Johnny Depp after the Amber Heard
Yes.
case and replaced him with Mads Mikkelsen,
Yeah.
which, although I do
Sorry.
like Mads very much, I didn't think was a very suitable replacement for Grindelwald.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a weird
Okay,
one.
well-
I would have preferred Mads Mikkelsen to be the character from the beginning and not have Johnny Depp in it. I think he's a better Grindelwald than Johnny Depp is. Because Johnny Depp is just, well, kind of playing Johnny Depp, and it's so overtly a Trump parody as well with the bleached blonde hair. But since they had him on, I think getting rid of him was entirely the wrong thing to do, and of course, famously for entirely the wrong reasons.
Here you go, folks. Black lives or black votes. Steve Rogers is Captain America.
Indeed he is.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Okay, so we've moved on, folks. I got told we were getting bogged down. Sorry.
Bogged.
Chad Stalinsky
Good enough.
says they shot spoilers, by the way, folks, mainly time profit, shot an alternate John Wick 4 ending where John Wick actually appeared at the end. The audiences we tested with, well, absolutely preferred the ambiguous, oh, here we go, folks, ambiguous ending.
I have to say, when I watched
That
the
ending
film,
is only ambiguous in the minds of people who like John Wick, because it's not ambiguous.
yeah, I was expecting that at the end of the film, to be honest with you. But even though it is an ambiguous ending, for sure as hell he survived everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
It was obvious that what's his name, Fishbone and the other character, what they were saying was literally that he was alive and they were responsible for hiding him. So that's what I read with the lines at the ending when they were at his graveside. But I might be wrong. He might be dead.
Nah,
never
he's
know.
still alive.
Yeah.
100%. They'll need him back for John Wick 5 probably in
Yeah.
a few years, where they'll make Keanu Reeves an old man, bitter old man. There we go.
Yeah, and a woman actually. Yeah. Phoebe Wally is back.
You go, R2, R.I.P. Ambigulon. I've still not seen this. I've seen it just at the cinema, but I've not rewatched it. Anybody else rewatched it?
I have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have.
definitely.
And
I
how was it hold up on the second viewing?
it held up very well in the second viewing. I
Yep.
still laughed at every stupid thing that happened in it.
Yeah, for me, the action just got a bit long after. It got tedious to get through during the third act.
Really?
Yeah. Because after a point, you're like, oh man, it's really cool to look at. But after a while, you start looking at your watch. You're like, damn, this is pretty long,
Yeah,
but not in a good way.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, it's John Wick is responsible for creating kind of a new genre of action films where it just
Oh, yes.
literally is all about the action.
Yeah.
It literally is, So, so if you understand that going in, I guess you would understand and you'd accept what's going on.
Well-
It's like film noir movies. If you don't understand the concept of film noir, going in, then you're not going to really accept what's going on, are you? Really?
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of, sort
true.
Here you go. R2, John Wick 4, Tedium.
I like
No, it
John Wick
wasn't.
4. I know Ben didn't like it, but that's his prerogative. But I really thought it was fun. Personally,
There has been
I
a
still like
serious
it.
drought of action movies, and we're moaning about the length of this.
Extraction 2 was
Extraction
good.
2 didn't come
Yeah.
out that long ago, like a
Yeah,
month, less than a month.
yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
I'm not sure I really buy the argument there's been a serious drought of action movies either.
No?
I mean, it's John Wick number 4 in the first place. Most of the superhero films, when they were certainly at their most successful, blended heavy action elements into them. Extraction's one that's been mentioned. That there's plenty of new action stuff that comes out on the streaming services all the time. I think it's a genre in revival. That's fair to say.
Yes.
I don't know if that's because
Yeah.
it just disappeared completely.
Yeah,
though.
the 80s was
Well,
the golden
the
era.
thing is though, when you say action film, it's superhero in films, even though they're action, it's completely separate to action film. When you say action film, you mean Die Hard. You mean you know what I mean? You need Commando.
Purely action.
Yeah,
Commando.
Rambo. That's
Yeah.
what you'd class as an action film. But and John Wick is definitely an action film, definitely. But again, just my opinion.
Okay, so we're kind of thinking John Wick 5 will get made.
Probably.
That's it.
Well, they've got Ballerina. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in production or if they're done already.
I think they're done.
And they've also got the Continental TV show that the trailer's already out for that
yeah.
too.
Ballerina is channel favorite Anna de Anis.
Oh God, I love her.
Yep.
She's so nice.
That's out next July, folks.
She's gonna kick ass. I hope they don't just put her in a paper bag or something. I hope they put her in some really great dresses and kick ass stuff and make her look freaking gorgeous while she's fighting, like they did in the Bond film, the crappy last Bond film. Yeah, she looked good enough to eat in that film.
Are we looking forward to the Continental? I think that's out September on HBO. I think.
Is it? It's the Continental is a it's
Yeah,
before
prequel.
all this.
I
So-
think it's from the 70s.
Right.
70s, yeah.
So we might have what's his name back? No, we can't because he died in real life.
Winston?
Not Winston. What's his the black guy? I can't remember his name.
Lance
Reddick.
Yeah, he died in real
Reddick.
life. I was
Yeah, he
thinking.
did,
Yeah, it's a shame.
But I think you might see his character, but young, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if they cast right, I guess.
Okay, let's move on.
Welcome back, Mr. Week. Yeah.
A couple of little bits of Oppenheimer.
Right.
Oops, sorry. Here we go. Christopher Nolan says he got hooked on the story of Oppenheimer after Robert Pattinson gifted him a book of Oppenheimer's speeches at the Tenet wrap party. So it's Pattinson's fault we're getting.
That seems like a very strange gift to be giving at the end of Tenet.
Yeah.
Why would you randomly give somebody a book of Oppenheimer's speeches? Not that they're not worth reading, but that's a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, I think this is a lie.
Yeah, it smacks of convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something that Christopher Nolan was probably talking to him about, like, oh yeah, I really plan on making something about Oppenheimer, and he just gave him the book, you know?
I don't think any of this happens at all. It sounds too
bullshit.
coincidental. It's bullshit. It really is, because they got nothing to print.
Here
Seriously.
you go, Fiona M. Great, it's Twilight's fault. Yeah, sorry.
I think it's bullshit, personally.
Did we like Tenet?
No.
Visually, it was cool, but yeah, the story was just. I mean, the main character was just called protagonist. What efforts was put, honestly?
And also, right? Yeah, I could see why he was cast, because he's black and you tick in a box, but he doesn't look like a hero at all. That guy at all.
No.
You know, if it was Denzel Washington, you'd accept him as a kick-ass hero. But this guy just looked like he just again comes from a soap opera or something.
And they tried to make him an action star because after
did,
Tenet, I think recently he's had a movie or something like that where he's globetrotting, but as a spy. But yeah, it just doesn't work.
Like Chad Will, what's his name? Whatever his name is, the guy
Chadwick
played
Boseman.
Yeah, he is definitely someone you would cast as a lead. He's got that look. He's got, the hero look, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the look.
Did you see him in was it 12 Bridges? He was bloody brilliant in that film. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was really good, really good. All set in one night. Really, really good movie. So if they cast someone like that, then maybe it would have been slightly better.
You go R2. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Yes.
I quite like with Tenet. I like the idea that Nolan was sitting there and he's been reading all this stuff about how films don't have enough black protagonists, and so he just gave us literally a black protagonist. It's a black man whose name is protagonist. Well done, Christopher. That's very, very good. The reason I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer more, though, is that actually there's only so much Nolan can write for this one. This is him applying his intellect and his cinematic abilities to a story that's already well known and already written. So he can't do as much self-indulgent fuckery as he did with Tenet. So it might look quite good. Whether you can hear anything is always a question with a Nolan film.
It's true.
But Platoon, did you hear that there's an extended, sex scene with Cillian Murphy and Florence Pugh?
Oh,
really?
what?
Oh, you guys didn't hear that?
Florence Pugh is I don't find her attractive at all.
There's going to be excessive nudity with the both of them. Yeah.
But isn't he married to the girl, the other girl? What was the other star in this film? We just
Emily
mentioned
Blunt?
her. Yeah, her. Isn't he married to her?
No, she's married to John Krasinski in real life.
I know, but in the movie, isn't he married to her?
Yeah,
Don't know.
Oh,
Don't know. Yeah.
Abject mediocrity. Boseman is dead, right? He's resting.
It's a shame. It's a shame because he was a star in the making. That fella, he really was.
He was.
Yep.
What was it? 42.
Yeah. I remember people on Twitter was having a go at him saying, "No, look how thin you are. You know, what are you trying to do? Be part of Hollywood, blah, blah, blah." And nobody knew he was suffering from cancer. Poor chap. You know what I mean? So
He goes, Smilex. Florence is a 7 at best and 11
6.
in Castleford. I'll agree with that.
Nah, she's a 4 at best, in my opinion.
No,
Not
she's
even
an
that.
11 in
3.
Castleford, mate. Trust me.
Yeah, I don't find her attractive.
No, nor do I.
No.
Nobody does. That's the thing. Only Hollywood thinks
I'm
she's
sure
attractive.
somebody does. Okay, so Convenience was saying, so this also dropped.
What's that?
Oh,
The 11-mile long IMAX print of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. 11-mile long print.
So this is what pisses me off, right? They insist in showing it. They're going to show it via film, right? Via this thing.
Yes.
This is the film reel, right?
Yep.
Yes. It's got it there written.
Why? When you can just get a digital print, which is the same quality, period, same quality,
Because
and do it that way.
Nolan.
Because it's Christopher Nolan. Get with the program here. For fuck's sake.
It's just
It's like when Zack Snyder insists on filming Justice League in 4:3 for no very good reason at all. Because
and a black and white version
being
too.
the director.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, yes, we know we shot in IMAX, but we have the technology to show it in IMAX without going through this crap. You know what I mean?
How much would that print weigh? Fucking
a lot.
Some poor bastard's got to carry that.
Wow.
I mean, the only other director recently that I've seen actually show his films with the actual prints is Tarantino, but he only does that in his cinema, the Beverly Cinema, I think.
Yeah. But his argument is flawed as well. He goes, "Oh, if you project it digitally, it's like watching TV at home." It's actually, no, it ain't. Because first of all, the screen's huge. Second of all, you got Dolby Stereo. Third of all, you're locked in a dark room. So how could it be like watching TV at home? It's ridiculous.
Okay, then. I'm going to say if they're actually doing a genuine 11-mile long IMAX prints for each of... Will they do one for each of the IMAX theatres showing it?
No, they won't.
Oh, I was going to say, because maybe that's why they're refusing to give screens over to Mission Impossible
don't
because of the
look,
because of the money they've invested in this.
I don't know whether every IMAX is going to actually have the film, but it seems pretty pointless to have the film when they've got the technology to project IMAX via digital,
Yep.
and it's the same quality. So I
yeah,
don't understand why they
fucking
would want the actual film.
the cost to produce that and
Yeah.
shipping to
Yeah.
each cinema is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean,
I
I
remember.
used to.
Sorry,
Yeah,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Mega Geek. You
on.
can go ahead.
Now, I remember seeing Lawrence of Arabia. It was a special screen at the BFI, and they showed it in 70mm, and it's actual film that they projected it. Things like that, yeah, I understand, you know, because it's a special screening. The director's going to talk, or director, or the people that was involved was going to talk. The director's dead. And I went to see it, and it blew me away, and it looked great. The you know, the print looked great, but you can't tell me you need to show this in every cinema, every IMAX cinema. You need to actually have the film.
Yeah, because
it's just
having the
stupid.
prints, it's something. Because I used to, well, I used to work for a while at my local cinema back in back when I was growing up, and by that time everything had moved to digital. So at the projector, all you needed to do was 2 clicks, and that was it.
Yeah.
But they still had all the reels from the movies, and it was huge. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
a massive cost also. So I was seeing even as late as I think it was 2013. I saw the reels for like Despicable Me. No, not Despicable Me. That's a fucking cartoon. I forgot the name. The Last Stand or something like that.
Right,
The
yeah.
Schwarzenegger movie. And I was seeing all of these reels, and it shocked me because digital, it saves a lot of money.
Yeah, it does. It does. But also, you don't lose quality either. In fact, you're gaining quality when it comes to digital. As I said, I don't understand. I mean, Tarantino has his way, but he's saying, I like watching TV. No, it isn't like watching TV. It's completely divorced. Anyway, whatever.
There you go. Tim, I like saying this. Hannibal. 11 miles is longer than Liam's schlong. Can't argue with me. Yeah.
It is. Well, I mean, that's not stuck to the film, is it? The title. It's not stuck to the last reel of the film, is it? The title on it. Is that on the film?
No.
It's ridiculous.
But I have a question. Well, for the panel, even if Mission Impossible wasn't coming out and it wasn't taking, so imagine there was just Oppenheimer at the cinemas. Would you guys actually pay the extra money to go see it in IMAX?
I wouldn't.
No, I'm not interested.
No,
really.
Same.
No.
I don't generally pay extra money to go and see things in IMAX because I don't care.
You travel.
But I sometimes travel. No, I try. My first watch will usually be in the cinema, but I'll travel then again afterwards. But
Dune
I think the interesting
IMAX.
question would this be, well, how appealing is this really going to be? So it's got competition from Mission Impossible. It's got if you call it competition, it's got competition with Barbie. But it's a documentary film, effectively. It's a biopic. It's got a very famous director's name attached to it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how well it really does, because in any other situation, this would be a niche, I think. But because it's Nolan, it's somehow this major release. And I wonder how many people are that interested. I'm interested, but I like niche things.
Here we go. Connor, do we have IMAX in the UK? Yes, we do.
We do, yeah.
We do.
We have.
If
we
I was
have-
going to...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm probably going to watch Oppenheimer, but it'll be just on a normal screen. I'm not going to...
Yeah. We got in Leicester Square, we have a big screen there, and we have one in Waterloo. That was one of the very first IMAX screens in London. And there are a few more outside of London as well. So,
do you guys have something called ICE in the UK too? Is that the same as IMAX? It's different, right?
no, I don't know what that is.
We've got 4DX. That's where
Yeah, that's terrible. That what a
put water on your
stupid
face.
idea. No, so there's another one called there's 4DX, and there's another one where the screen, you have one bit in the middle of the room, and then you have the sides as well.
Oh yeah, that's
on the
ICE.
wall.
Yeah, that's ICE.
It's
Does it
terrible.
work? Oh, okay.
I saw a film. I saw a film with that once, and I just thought this is ridiculous, because you don't look at the sides, you just look at the middle of the screen. So what is the point having those things on the sides? Anyway, whatever.
Z, I think this one's for you, mate.
Smilex in the chat says, I will see this in Max
Headphones.
for $1 billion.
That was very reserved. Okay, so
That looks like a record, doesn't it? And a record player.
How much
Doesn't
would
it?
that actually cost? Just that reel of film.
They're just showing off so they can make people,
How
you know,
much
go and
money
see
is
it and
there?
stuff. It's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous, isn't it?
They'll sell it afterwards, and someone will pay like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get it.
Oh, for sure.
Do you know when you saw the Batman movie, the one with the Joker, right? And I saw it where it was, some of it was IMAX and some of it wasn't. So it was like 35 minutes. Then suddenly you got this IMAX shot. When I was watching the film, I didn't notice the IMAX shots at all because it changes format, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When I was watching the film, I was so
4:3.
engrossed in the film, I didn't even notice that it went from 35 to IMAX. To see, that's how. When
That's
IMAX,
how good a director you
yes,
are.
well, no, how IMAX work is when you have something spectacular on the screen that has depth, that has distance, and
Top
that's
Gun.
when the IMAX works. But when you have ordinary stuff, like the bit,
Top Gun Maverick.
it just doesn't work. Yeah, like Top Gun worked very well with IMAX. I'm assuming because the Mission Impossible film is going to work very well with IMAX. So.
Be good.
Yeah, well, the only reason the Oppenheimer is in IMAX is because of the explosion. He says that you're gonna feel it. So
I see.
I don't know. I think the sitting through to 2.5 hours just for one
A money
explosion
shot.
in IMAX, it's like, come on, you know.
Your arse will feel it sitting there.
Okay, let's move on then. I fear we got bogged down in that. Sorry, guys.
And finally, who's this? Oh no.
Okay, so Katie Sackhoff says the catering budget on The Mandalorian is the entire budget of Battlestar Galactica.
That's a lot of avocado on toast.
Yeah. Is she going to be the new lead now in Mandalorian? I heard that was a rumor.
I think somebody actually did come out and say, because I was joking ages ago that they never told you exactly who they meant when they said the Mandalorian, so that was going to be their excuse for having her as the protagonist. And I think someone actually involved in it has now come and basically said the same thing. So it's no longer a joke. She is, in fact, the Mandalorian. She always has been the Mandalorian. We just didn't know it from the beginning.
Well, until KK got involved.
God, I do like Katie, but come on, love. Why are we even talking about this? Why are we even talking about this? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I don't even know that they're gonna continue the Mandalorian. Honestly, I doubt.
Yeah,
I think they will out of desperation because at least, well, ostensibly they have to try and run it all the way up toward Dave Filoni's big film, capping off all of these incredibly much loved and successful stories on Disney Plus. And The Mandalorian is by far the most viewed of all of them. So if The Mandalorian doesn't continue, there is absolutely no way that film is going to happen. I don't think that film is going to happen. So, yeah. But then no one really gives a shit. The Mandalorian it was never brilliant, but it was at least vaguely fun at the beginning. It's fallen off a cliff. No one likes Boba Fett. I don't have very many hopes for Ahsoka. I have none at all for the Acolyte. So I don't really see this going anywhere.
If we see it.
I just don't watch modern stuff anymore. I really don't. Because I know what I'm going to get. So I try to watch. I'm reverting back to the old stuff now, watching old TV shows and old movies. So there you go.
Yep. That's basically what I do too.
Not interested in this stuff at all.
Is there anything that's actually decent on TV at the moment, folks, before we pop off?
Well, I'm watching, I think this show came out 2 years ago. I'm watching a show called Manifest, which is on Netflix. Yeah. And I think that's quite intriguing, but I can see it's going to get stale very quickly. But I'm watching that. I watched Casablanca, and I love Casablanca. I watched it 3 times now. I think that movie is absolutely awesome.
Incredible.
Here you go, folks. Sorry, chat moved up. Tim, I like saying this, Hannibon. Why Brown shush at Plutes? I never shush.
He's saying
Plutes.
Shit. That's what he's saying.
I'm going shit.
Yeah.
I would never tell my guests to shush. Chat, is there anything we should be watching before we disappear? Anything you could recommend that we should be watching?
Well, I'll go ahead
I
and
think
recommend
Silo finished off at an acceptable level.
Was it good?
Okay, so you're saying Silo, yeah.
I want to see that.
Well, it was a really good start. It then fell off of its feet completely, and by the end, it had kind of recovered to where it was at the start. So I'm not saying this is an excellent show by any means, but I think it was better than I was expecting it to be, and I didn't hate it. So that's a good start.
Ted Lasso.
Does
First
Rebecca
season.
Ferguson look any good in it?
She does actually.
You're asking the wrong person there, but
yeah,
I think she does. Yeah.
She's very cute. I think she's cute.
Silo. Yeah, Silo.
Ted Lasso, first season.
Oh,
Don't bother the rest.
Love Island.
No, rubbish.
Yes.
Wow, is that good? Warrior?
I've
yeah,
been
season
meaning to
3.
watch Warrior because it's from the same people who made Banshee, and Banshee is fucking amazing. Everybody should check out Banshee. Yeah. Warrior. Yeah.
It's the Bruce Lee thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
what Bruce Lee wanted Kung Fu to be, apparently.
You go R2, yeah, Silo.
Mm.
Another one for Ted.
Season 1, definitely.
Godzilla is King.
Don't know. Oh, it's a cartoon, I think.
Okay.
It's a cartoon, I think. Not sure.
Any more before we?
No,
I
I'm
think
watching
Ted Lasso is
the-
Apple
Oh,
TV,
yes.
isn't it?
Yes, I love Ted Lasso.
Wimbledon, yeah. I used to be into tennis.
I was just
but-
going to say both Silo and Ted Lasso are both Apple TV. I think of all the streaming services out there, the one that gets talked about the least is probably Apple TV, and yet it probably has some of the better stuff on it.
Yeah.
It certainly has some of the highest production values you'll see. I think Foundation Series
Yep.
2 is starting in a few
It's
days.
about to
That's
drop,
not
yes.
Foundation. It's
Yep.
completely broken the actual source material. If you just look at it in terms of its visuals, it's stunning. I mean, the production values are incredible on that show.
Is it any good?
It's a
though?
shame. It's
Okay. Right. Okay.
It's very, very middle of the ground average sci-fi, which has stole the names and places from a very famous book series and called itself an adaptation. But it looks lovely. So if you don't mind the fact that they've broken the source, then yes.
Go Venture Brothers finale movie coming in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Steve
Banshee show rocks.
Kosoboom. Yeah. Banshee is just fantastic. Everybody should check out Banshee, folks.
I'll check
is
it out.
just-
I'm actually watching this Netflix show right now called The Days. It's a mini series about the
The days.
about the I think it's Fukushima, and it's basically like Chernobyl, but it was made by the Japanese, and it's talking about the
Oh.
disaster in Fukushima.
Yes, I know.
It's
I'm
actually
watching
really
a-
good.
I'm watching a show called Delete. And basically, it's about a camera that
After
deletes
party.
people.
Oh.
Seriously, yeah. But the thing
What?
is, it kind of tricks you. You think it's a horror, but it's not. It's kind of more deeper than that.
Could you
kind of
send
thing.
it KK's way? Okay.
It's a Korean show.
Yeah, K-drama or like normal Korean.
No, it's normal Korean. I think it's Korean. I'm not sure.
Mm.
But yeah, it's called Delete.
It's Is it Philippines?
Yeah, it's probably that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it then,
Tom Cruise.
folks. We're done.
His teeth is fixed. Tom Cruise.
We're done. That's it. Chats, we are nothing without you guys. Thank you for the interaction. Apologies if we got bogged down a couple of times. That's show business, folks. So, chat, you are wonderful. We will see you next time. I will thank the guests. Mega Geek, cheers, Ian.
Yeah, no worries, guys. No worries.
And ESG Wet Dream, folks, the uninspired reviewer. Cheers, my friend.
Thank you for having me on, Mr. Brown.
Great to have you on, mate.
It's always a pleasure.
Great to have you on. Z3PO.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on. Always a pleasure with you guys.
Cheers, mate.
And love you in the chat. You're amazing.
And Cyberdyne's system, the Little Platoon. Cheers, mate.
Thanks as ever.
Just record that. Ben.
Yes.
Just record it.
Are you on tomorrow, Lord?
I believe so. Yeah. I think we are on, I don't know exactly what time. It'll be 10:30ish as usual.
Yeah, usual time, yeah.
Yeah. And I believe Cynic is running away afterwards to go see Mission Impossible at that point.
Oh,
Is he so hold on, so who have you got on then? Do you know?
I haven't got a clue. I don't handle guests.
I'm
I'm not
sorry.
good with people. Cynic's
He
good
just
with people.
he just
So
turns up.
I leave
He
it to
just-
him.
Oh, okay.
I've been told, Fiona M, to mention the Deadlock, the show, please.
Deadlock. Never heard of it. Fiona, I've never heard of it,
I
sweetie.
think that's a streamer who's doing streaming a bit.
Yeah.
I think Melvin's been advertising it in the chats.
I
So
see.
I think that is it, folks. So Beast Up is tomorrow. Wednesday we are back.
What, with Ruin?
No, I don't know actually. I don't know if he's on holiday. I know Brian is still on holiday. Melvin is advertising Roadhouse Review coming up in 2 minutes. Copa Katana's Yo Show. There's a link there, folks.
Deadlock is actually a show.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 2023, 1 season mystery show.
Okay. We should be watching Deadlock then. Okay. That is it. We are back Wednesday. I'm thinking maybe we should do the Matrix. I've been doing the slides. If we do the Matrix, yeah. If we do the Matrix.
No, I like the Matrix. I like the Matrix.
If we do the Matrix, we'll do part 1 on Wednesday and part 2 on Saturday.
Depends how many slides you got up there.
Oh, I'm not kidding you. I've done the slides and everyone just looks fucking incredible. That's how good that film is. So, okay. Possibly we'll be back Wednesday. We'll be back on Wednesday anyway, folks. So that is it. If we don't see you Wednesday or tomorrow, we will be back at the weekend. So have a great week. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the usual. And we've got to get to 3,000 subs. So we do a 12-hour stream of Attack of the Clones. That is it. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great week. We are out of here.
Bye.
Bye.
Timing.